Why this fool got more comics than a motherfucker?
Ready?
Hello and welcome to MCMF. My name is Marcus. I have too many comic books and I decided to double down on it, ruining my personal relationships by making all my friends read comic books. Joining me on this episode, where we're going to talk about something we hate, is my man Will.
How y'all doing up there? Prepare yourselves. This is going to get negative quick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely. So last week, last episode with Jake, we talked about the Judas Contract, a story we both love a lot. One of the stories I recommend the highest to somebody who is getting into comics, because at the end of the day, that is what I want to do with this show. Is if I can get 10 people to start reading comic books and make that easier for people, I'll call this a success. This is not one of those books. This is not one of those stories that I recommend to people that I would say go read if you're interested in getting into comics. This is a story, this is a title that I abhor, I despise, I loathe. We are going to be talking about New 52, Red Hood, and the Outlaws. This book ran for 40 issues. It, alongside the other title written by Scott Lobdell, his Teen Titans, these are two of my least favorite comics that have ever come out. And they were wildly popular at the time, and I don't understand why.
So my theory is I'm convinced that the only reason this book was popular is because it was the first, Red Hood, not even a solo book, because it's still a team book, but it was the first Red Hood focused book. And during the New 52, I think you had brought this up, if you liked Starfire or liked Red Hood, this was the only place you could read it.
Or Reddit or Arsenal, because Roy isn't in anything else at this time either.
Listen, you're talking to the biggest Green Arrow fan.
Yeah.
Roy doesn't have the cats beaten down the door, you know?
Yeah, true.
You don't see a whole
but
lot
there
of
are people who like him.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I don't want to completely shit on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this as one of the only people who inexplicably really likes Mia, I get it.
Yes, which one day on the show we will talk about Green Arrow.
Yes, that was what this episode was originally going to be. This was originally going to be a Green Arrow episode. We were going to pick a Green Arrow story, and we were going to read a Green Arrow story and talk about that. And then you said, "Nah, let me shoot on Disney era Marvel or the New 52." And yes. Because me and Gary are going to do Avengers vs. X-Men in a couple weeks, possibly.
Which I cannot wait for.
Oh, that's going to be fun. I was like, well, we pretty much got the Disney era Marvel stuff covered, at least for now. So let's go New 52. Fuck it, let's do Red Hood and the Outlaws, because I'm already going to do Teen Titans with Monet. Because if I've got to experience that, somebody else has got to experience it. That book is... Yeah. If I hate this book, that book is... I used to wake up, breath still hot, and curse the name of Scott Lobdell on the internet.
And I think it's more egregious than what is happening in Red Hood. Well, what happened in Red Hood and Outlaws, because at least with Red Hood, you can there wasn't a whole lot.
Right. Jason had passed through so many writers and had so many changes to his personality, to the things he was doing. So I think...
He gets away with it.
Right. And the thing is, Lobdell, at this point, Scott Lobdell has written Jason Todd more than anybody who has ever written him.
That's sickening. That's absolutely...
his Jason is Jason now. He's written Jason basically for the last 10 years.
And what frustrates me about that is, so as the audience may not know this, but we all have a very deep connection to the Robins.
Yes. I think for a good chunk of our conversations for the last 10 years have opened with one of us with me referring to you as Todd or you referring to me as Drake.
Always.
I'm Tim, you're Jason, and Manny is Dick.
And I think I think the thing that burns me up the most about people who write the Robins, and they're doing it to Damian too, on some of the recent stuff that I've peeked in on, is that they make them too one note, which is Dick is the funny Robin, Jason is the angry Robin, Tim is the smart one, and it's like to do
Stephanie
them right,
is the girl.
Exactly, that's literally just Stephanie is the girl, and Damian is the brooding one. And
Yes.
I think good writers realize that all of them
can be all of these things at once. Like
Exactly.
Tim is a deeply angry person.
Yes, and if you think he can't be brooding, watch after Khan died, because woo, buddy.
What? So not
You don't have to be phone your friend.
not to make this a Tim Drake episode, as I will do at some point. There's going to be an episode where I'm going to make somebody read like the John Lewis, Pete Woods, Robin stuff, that's my favorite shit ever. Tim goes through. He gets the hardest back to back trauma in real world years, like not even just like publication years, like in universe years, because in universe his mom dies, and his dad is murdered by Captain Boomerang in a space of like 3 years.
Yep.
Tim in real world time within the space from like 2004 to 2006, it's like his dad dies, Stephanie dies, multiple of his classmates are murdered. One of his classmates is shot and killed in front of him and then comes back as a demon later to try and kill him. Khan dies, Bart dies. That's in space like a year and a half.
The guilt he feels about Stephanie dying, like it's rough, man. Like it's rough. They put that boy through the ringer.
Like it was I almost feel like it wasn't even like on purpose. It was just like he's connected to all these things. Therefore, like his dad and Stephanie, I don't think that those were like the same writer had the idea. It was just like those two things happened to happen around the same time.
Yeah, which, speaking of his dad, like whenever I think of Tim Drake trauma, I just think about, which I think you said you're going to eventually, but I think about Blackest Night.
Oh, yeah, when his fucking parents are there?
Yes, they're the two moments in Blackest Night that are the absolute craziest are Black Lantern, Captain Boomerang, and I think his dad's name was Jack, right?
Jack Drake, yeah.
Yeah, and Black Lantern, Jack Drake reenacting him killing him in front of Tim.
And Tim saving him this time.
Yes, crazy shit. And then Black Lantern, the Flying Grayson, like
doing the trapeze routine with
and Batman, and Dick Grayson with Batman just turns to like a 10-year-old boy again. It's so sad.
It's so fucked. I'm gonna have somebody line up to do that episode, so that's gonna be fun too. But Red Hood and the Outlaws. This is like you said. This is Jason Todd's first like series as the first ongoing as the protagonist of something, because Red Hood Lost Days had come out a few years earlier, and I want to say that was like 6 issues.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it's.
I've got it around this way.
It's like 6 issues, and it's solid. I remember really liking it when I read it. Even if like we shouldn't talk about Talia in that book and things that she does.
Yes, it happens.
It happens. Yep.
Acknowledge that it happens. But
yeah.
This book fundamentally, it's rotten.
It is dog shit, frankly.
When every level.
I posted a screenshot from it, and one of my friends on Twitter just went, "Why the fuck are you reading this?"
Like, I read work.
Oh,
like,
God!
You know how bad a comic book has to be for me to put my phone down and say, "Let me do some actual work."
Let me do my goddamn job and stop reading this comic book, because this shit is terrible. Like.
Even the name sucks.
Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Which, first of all, what are they outlawing against?
Yeah,
now, one thing I'll say is that they do show them killing a few people, but not to the point for them to be like, public enemy #1.
Like
Or just
Roy, you can say is an outlaw because when this book opens, he is literally in jail. And like Starfire's, you can argue she's an outlaw because she's on the run from slavers in space.
But even still, that shouldn't affect her on Earth. If her being almost killed, if they're like, oh well, aliens don't count as people, so we can't prosecute them for murder, you shouldn't be able to prosecute her for crimes. She's not a citizen of this planet,
Right? Yeah. Fucking extradite her back to Tamara.
you know. And like Red Hood, all right, fair game. You know, he's
Yes,
out here
Jason is an
killing
outlaw,
mobsters.
which is later the book changes titles in volume 2. After like briefly, it becomes, or I think after like 25 issues, it becomes Red Hood Outlaw.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
sure. But and I also don't understand this team composition. It really just feels like do we know, did he handpick these three, or were they just like given to him? Because
He had to pick them. He had to pick them, and I wonder if similar to what they ended up doing with the Teen Titans, similar to what led to the creation of Harper Row, which was DC saying, these are the characters that are on the table, these are the characters that are not.
yeah, I can see that.
And now that I think about it, I feel like Starfire's spot was meant for Power Girl.
Really?
Like, just thinking about the way she's characterized, she's written like, and I can't prove that, but I'm just saying maybe it would have made more, this story might have made more sense if this is Power Girl instead of Starfire.
Because the thing that stands out to me as a huge bugaboo is that when you see these three people on paper, the one big piece of connective tissue they have
Is Dick Grayson.
Is Dick Grayson. He is in 2 pages.
he's in a flashback.
Yeah, and then after Death of the Family, he's literally in. So they're at Wayne Manor. Everybody else is in regular clothes, and like Corey and Roy come to pick Jason up. He goes inside, and Nightwing is in full fucking costume, rooting on Marvel inside of Wayne Manor. And he's like, "I'm not going to say hi to her. Just take care of her." And you don't see him again.
Which again is not okay. So Dick, I talked about it in the last episode. Dick is one to brood because he is Bruce's son in his heart.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But Dick is not. I'm not gonna say hi to Corey brooding. That's
Especially because, and what irks me the most, what made me literally have to put my phone down, is when they do a flashback at some point to show how Jason and Corey met each other.
Yeah.
And she sees him and she keeps thinking he's Dick.
Well, she's like, he's really familiar. I don't know where I know him from, but he reminds me of someone I know I loved.
And then she tells him straight up, I know I'll see him again, and then I'll remember. And then not only does he not want to see her, she just refuses to go inside as if she knows he's there and doesn't want to see him. What is continuity?
Yeah, like, my biggest problem with this book is its treatment of Starfire, because not only is it inconsistent with previous depictions of her as a character, it is inconsistent with its own depictions of her as a character.
Yes. 100%. Like, and I understand, I think why this happened is, in my personal opinion, I think they wanted to make her a complete 180 from what most people
would expect her to be. Yes.
Right. But why?
For what? Like, Lobdell did an interview or sent out a tweet or something. I remember this quote from him. This is like 2013, 2014, maybe, because the thing about the New 52 was it was total dog shit. It was a total failure for like, and I can say with confidence, the New 52 was a total failure because they rebooted it in 2016. They got rid of it. They said no more of this shit because nobody was into it.
Is that the reboot that they did? They had to reboot.
Yes, they had to reboot the reboot and go back to the old stuff. because
what
it
burns me up
sucked.
about this, and this is why I want to talk about Disney Marvel too, is that the justification is always that we want to make it accessible for new readers.
Right.
Okay, I understand that's where the money is. New people tend to kind of frenzy buy stuff. I get that. Then why not make the characters something
What people would recognize?
Thank you. Like
because
what?
If I had no experience with comic books outside of what was on TV, if my only exposure to the character of Starfire was the Teen Titans show from 2003, I picked this book up, I would not recognize this character. Like, who the fuck is this? Because this isn't Starfire.
You can say that about basically, well, I won't say all of them, because I didn't read enough to know how Raven was. But I know you can say the same thing about Beast Boy, too.
Oh, like, yeah. Hey, who the fuck is that guy?
Why are you ignoring your most, entry-level position here?
Right, yeah.
Like, there's characters you can play with in that way to kind of, quote-unquote, freshen them up as he thought he was doing. And I don't think Starfire is one of them. And I don't think that's the way to do it. Making her the forgetful sex demon, I don't think that's the way to do it.
Starfire can't remember anybody, but she loves to fuck.
Yeah. Do they ever even say why she can't remember humans?
She just, humans all look the same to her, I think is the thing that Jason says.
So fucking stupid. It's so stupid. And at first, because I remember when I read it, I think I overlooked that when it was coming out. And I remember the issue where they show her meeting Jason. I thought the joke was that, oh, Jason kind of looks like Dick.
Because he does.
Right. And because originally that's one of the reasons Batman was so quick to put him out there so that people wouldn't think there was a new Robin. I thought that was the joke. But then I'm like, no, wait, she doesn't.
She doesn't remember who Dick is. She just is like, you look kind of familiar.
Crazy. Absolute crazy stuff.
Yeah, the thing I was going to say was that the quote was something to the effect of updating these characters is more than just putting a smartphone in their hands, I think was the quote. And it's like, okay, but you're updating them in ways that are really stupid. Like, a lot of these characters' origins and personalities change, and that's not updating them, that's just making them a different character.
I have to laugh, man, because it's like you're not dealing with some Fawcett comic character that hadn't been used since 1960.
It's not Alan Scott and Jay Garrick.
Thank you. You're not trying to make Wildcat
right.
For the new
generation. If you can update Wildcat and make him a different character. You update Wildcat today and he's Floyd Mayweather Sr., you know? Which is way different, but that's how you make that character modern. Tim Drake, a character created in 1989, and Jason Todd, a character created in 1984, don't need to be updated, especially when they were pretty modern already.
Yeah, and that's another thing is that they were, I think, unless you were reading comics at the time to see it happen, I don't think people realize how sudden the New 52 happened.
Oh, it just happens. It's
I want to say a month before this is when they had it was in the Batman run where Jason Todd's teaming up with Dick Grayson Batman.
Yes.
These are characters that were actively doing stuff. It wasn't like they were just on a shelf somewhere, you know?
Right. Before we started, we were talking about the Teen Titans character Solstice. Solstice was granted a new character, but she changes so radically from the last issue of 03 Teen Titans to the first issue of New 52 Teen Titans. She's a different person now.
I didn't even recognize.
Yeah, who the fuck is this? Oh yeah, it's Solstice. What? Just to throw out there some dumb retcons that happened around this time. And granted, there are some good ones. There are some retcons that admittedly I think are kind of dumb, but they're dumb in the way that I like. Like Clark Kent faking his death.
Yeah.
There's a Superman comic, for the listener, there's a Superman comic where essentially Batman finds out that that Clark Kent is Superman, and this freaks Clark out. And so as a result, Clark's like, well, shit, anybody can figure out if Bruce can figure, Batman can figure it out. Because I don't even think he knows he's Bruce Wayne yet. But he's like, if Batman can figure it out, then anybody can figure it out. Which is a really dumb way to think. But I guess the logic is, what's to stop fucking Darkseid or whoever, So he fakes his death in a fire and then becomes a fireman. His new identity is Johnny Clark, Metropolis Fire Department, and then Batman figures that out too.
Like, he's like a Law and Order character that's like on his way to a job and he's trying to get info from him. Johnny Clark, get out of here!
And Batman sees him. He's like, "Hey, are you a fireman now?" And he's like, "What the fuck? How do you keep figuring this out?"
Which I would laugh incredibly hard if Superman didn't know. Because how don't you? You have X-rays. Nobody has secrets from you, buddy.
Yeah,
I don't know if you knew that or not.
I'm fucking Superman.
Okay.
All right, but just there was that, but then there was also they in a reprint of Teen Titans #1. They changed the origin of the Teen Titans from being like a new version of the Teen Titans that Tim puts together to being that nope, Tim's Teen Titans are the first Teen Titans actually, which conflicts with Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yep.
Because Roy explicitly asks Starfire in the first issue, "Hey, do you remember?" And then starts naming the Titans. He's like, "You remember anybody named Dick or Garth? Or Wally?"
So, okay, all right. So let's say that humans aren't unique enough to stand out to her. I gotta think the fucking green, or I think he was red. I gotta think the multicolored one that turns into
animals sticks out.
Or the one that's half robot.
Or the dude who lives in the bottom of the ocean. Like, I feel like these are things you remember.
I can see if all Robins look alike, maybe all are all just a blur to you, but come on, man. Like, the chick with the feather helmet, she doesn't leave an impression. Like,
you used to hang out with the dude who is a robot. Like, he's a black dude with a red eye. You don't remember him?
And an impressive set of curls. If we're in the age.
Yo, how does he have waves? Cyborg with the wave cap is kind of crazy.
That's crazy to think about.
Okay, so we're 20 minutes in. We have not even fucking talked about the book itself. Let's just get into it. Issue 1. My first note is I fucking hate this art.
Yes.
Like,
oh my god.
I've come up with a thing, and I haven't worked out the kinks on it, but I'm calling it the Perez to Liefeld scale. Perez after George Perez, Liefeld after Rob Liefeld. Yep. This is very Liefeld leaning.
Yeah. With who this is closer to? What's the guy that wrote for X-Men for a while that just traced? Especially with women's faces.
Oh, Greg Land?
Yeah. This is near the Greg Land territory. Especially Starfire.
Oh, Starfire is atrocious, but like, specifically this first page, a lot of dudes with a lot of weird extra lines on their faces.
For no reason.
Just because, really. Roy looks like shit, which he's supposed to here, because he's been in Karaki jail for however long. It's narrated by Jason, who's going like, Roy's a good guy, but he's an idiot, and oops, he's in Karaki jail. And then they bring in the priest to confess his sins, his last rites or whatever. And the priest turns out to be Jason.
Surprise.
Jason doing he's doing the Eric Bischoff priest gimmick.
At the Bully and Chuck wedding.
Yeah, did somebody say 3 minutes?
Craziness.
God. And then
Black
Rosie
and
Jamal.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's 14.
Rosie and Jamal come in and start whooping everybody's ass.
You know.
But
this is, I don't know if this qualifies as the art style, but one thing I do hate is that first of all, almost every issue of this book starts off with narration, like it's a fucking episode of Raw. But
like TNA 2007.
Exactly, and the title, like the quote boxes for the narration, all look the same unless you look really close.
Yeah,
because they're all that same stupid hue of red.
Yeah, Starfires are different because they're like orange. But Jason and Roy's, you have to notice that the text in Jason's is black and the text in Roy's is white.
I hate it so much. I hate the art in general because
I hate that they gave Jason's helmet lips.
Don't get me started on the lips. The two things that I have big notes about is that the helmet should never have lips, and he's not fucking Spider-Man. His eyes should not be.
His eyes don't move.
It's a helmet. It's a fucking helmet.
It's a helmet.
Why does the helmet look shocked?
Oh, actually, so Jason's text boxes are black with red text, and Roy's are red with white text.
Just it's like alternate costumes.
Yeah, they're fucking palette swaps. Also, a lot of long range in this team. You had Jason with guns, Roy with arrows, which these two things together feel redundant, but then you have Starfire, who has fucking lasers.
Yes, and I think the logical fix to that would be, make things go wrong with Jason's guns so he can get up close and personal.
Because we know Jason's a good fighter. Jason was trained by fucking Batman.
But no, they double down because at one point, spoiler alert, Starfire just has two fucking space AK-47 at some point in time.
Jason gets these swords for a while, which I think was a cool idea. But then Jason is encroaching on Damian's territory because Damian uses the swords.
You know, they kind of look like that weird squiggly sword that he had for like an issue.
Yeah.
And then, but they're bronze. I don't know, man. We'll get to all that.
It's very Assassin's Creed. There's this one. So the thing is about this book, I think the thing that makes me the most mad is that every once in a while there's like an actual good joke.
Yes. Yep.
Every once in a while there's something that actually like makes me laugh, and then I'm like, fuck, why isn't this like this all the time? Like, there's this great Jason and Roy are escaping from the jail after they whoop everybody's ass there. And Roy says, admit it, Harper and Todd, we're a great team. And Jason says, the only reason I'm here is because if anything happens to you, that would make me the worst former sidekick ever. And then they both, Jason's little narration box goes too far, and Roy's goes too far. Like, I love that joke. Unironically, I think that's hilarious. I'm going, whoa, I'm not here because I like you. I'm here because if you die, then it's just me.
And you know, I think, we're going to spend a lot of time shitting on old Scotty Boy here because he does a lot of stuff bad. The one thing I will say I think he gets pretty good is the actual banter between Roy and Jason.
Roy and Jason, that's why for a while this book becomes Red Hood Arsenal.
Yeah, yep.
Like, it relaunches briefly as just Red Hood and Arsenal, because I think that everyone recognized that the two of them were the part of this that works. Once you add this fucked up version of Starfire, who is not Starfire, like, she feels like a different character.
You know what about this? This is me fantasy booking comic books here. But in my opinion, the perfect person who would have been able to round out that trio instead of Starfire is fucking Harley Quinn.
Oh, shit, yeah. I think the thing is, though, they had her tied up in Suicide Squad at the time.
That's right. She was leading the Suicide Squad, wouldn't she?
But this team being Roy, Jason, and Harley, that works.
You know, they're all kind of damaged people. They don't think they're not as bad as people think, but they also aren't as good.
So, actually, I'll add, this would have been this version of Roy and Jason, and then present-day Harley, I think works.
Ooh, yeah. Yep.
But not 2011, they're still trying to make her a villain, Harley.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing. Like, it was, right, if I remember correctly, this is a little fuzzy, but I feel like pre-New 52, they were trying to turn the corner on him. And then when New 52 happened, they just went
Nope, she's back with, she's just back in the, well, actually, I don't think she's back with Joker. She's just kind of like old Harley again. Like, they're just like, that didn't happen. Like, that's the thing, is that a lot of characters' growth is totally undone.
Which is it's so annoying. I could rant all day about how I hate how Harley Quinn has been depicted. I think they're getting it right now from the little bit that I've seen. I don't read on it.
Yeah, you should actually read Joker War, because she's great in that. Because she's like, look, Batman, I'm gonna kill the Joker. If you don't want me to kill him, you got to get to him before I do. Because if I get to him first, I'm putting him in the ground. And Batman's like, unfair. True.
But yeah, this first issue is just really, I won't say it's a nothing issue because it is set up, but it doesn't hook you.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if you want bad art of a woman in comics, this is the one. Because the first time we see Corey here, I'm upset looking at it. Her spine is bent in a way that people's spines don't bend. She's like, I don't even want to say she's wearing a costume. She's wearing like pasties.
Yeah, and I hate how, I mean, surprise, surprise, a comic book in the 2010s over-sexualized the woman. But I hate
this
how
feels
much
like pornography.
Yes, it's the costume, it's how she acts, it's how people talk about her constantly. Like, it gets to a point where it's like when they're on, well, spoiler, when they're on Tamaran and what's Jason's date's name? Isabel. She exclusively refers to her as stuff as like buxom.
Yeah, she's like the buxom alien in there. It's like, what? Nobody talks like this.
Like, come on, bro. Don't talk about her tits.
Isabel is a flight attendant that Jason goes on a date with in Miami. She's seen people with large breasts before.
And like you said, Miami. So she's probably seen women that same color with big boobs.
She's seen women who look like Starfire before.
It's so infuriating.
So fucking, you get this terrible fucking splash page of Corey. And then next page, Jason and Roy pull up in the Hummer that they stole, or the Jeep, and God, this fucking line is so gross, man. Roy says, "Is she with you?" And Jason says, "With us, yeah." But yeah, she's been quote unquote with me. Like, who the fuck?
And see, and that's the point I was making earlier. Is that when he writes Jason, he doesn't do the thing where he makes Jason one. He tries to bring in the different elements, but he just does it poorly.
Yes.
Because it doesn't sound like he's joking. You see later that he probably was trying to crack a shitty joke with his friend, but it doesn't seem like that. It seems like he's just slapping his dick on the table like,
yeah, I fucked that. Look at that. He might as well be going, "Hey, Roy, smell my finger."
Exactly. Like, I don't know, man.
And like, she does nothing in this issue. I should say this is my biggest problem with Libdel's Corey, is that she does nothing for a while. Like, she's like, and I mean, like, as a character, she does nothing. Like, as a function in the book, as superpowers, she does stuff. But like, she's like, her first line, the first thing you hear her say is there anything else I can do, Jason? Like, she's a fucking waitress.
Like tapping the table on the way to her next Ken Top or some shit.
Yeah.
A big pet peeve of mine is I hate powerful characters in team books that are there just to be powerful.
Yes.
And, here's a thought. Maybe if the first arc of this book isn't Jason Todd, a bat character, fighting fucking demons, maybe you don't need a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Maybe you can make that a little more grounded.
This feels like they just wanted to draw Starfire's tits a lot.
Yeah. That I think you mentioned that it was, and I'm pretty sure it's just horny dudes that want to look at stuff.
Yeah.
Don't know how to,
because I want people listening to this to know that I am not exaggerating the way she looks here. Like, I'm going to post this panel on Twitter after I put the episode up. Because on the next page, which is 3 weeks later on St. Martinique, they just been hanging out on an island for 3 weeks, I guess. The first thing you see is Starfire coming out of the water onto the beach. And like, again, more terrible anatomy. It is like you said, Greg Land. It's like he might as well have just drawn pornography here.
Yeah.
And not particularly good pornography, I should add.
Exactly.
Like,
and
it's porn, but it's bad.
Like, in that one scene, all she establishes is, no, humans aren't important enough for me to care about. Do you want to have sex? Like, that's it.
Yes.
That's all she does.
Because, like, also, Jason and Roy are having a conversation here that feels like they definitely should have had at some point before now. Because so it's been 3 weeks. Explicitly, they tell you it has been 3 weeks. Jason and Roy are sitting on the beach watching Starfire come out of the ocean, and they're talking about how much Jason hates Gotham. And Roy asks, aren't you a little worried about what happens when she finds out about you and her ex? Her ex being Dick Grayson, who before now, at this point, is one of Roy's closest friends. Like, that's the other thing, is that, like, Dick Grayson's closest friends are all either reassigned to Jason or are missing. Because where the fuck is Donna Troy? Where the fuck is Wally West?
When it happened, when the New 52 happened, I called it that they were just going to put Donna Troy on a fucking rocket and send her to the moon. Because there is no character in comic book history, except maybe like Jean Grey Phoenix, that a company just doesn't know what the fuck to do with. Like how they do Donna.
Donna, after Wolfman stops writing her, nobody knows how to what to do with her.
Like, she's got 20 different origins.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't know what to do with her. Like, whenever, I think it's always a bad sign. Whenever a superhero just, that's when they're just.
Yeah. Like,
you know?
All right, so now, like, Donna is a lot like Colossus in the sense that after a certain point, nobody knew what the fuck to do with her. And nobody cared to find something new to do with her.
But see, I even argue that, like, with Colossus, he at least has enough characters that are known to be integral to him that you have something you can fall back on. Like, if you don't know what to do with Colossus, you can at least do a Colossus and Kitty Pryde.
You can do a Colossus and Magic, yeah.
But with Donna, they don't even try.
I mean, it's the same thing with Cassie. It's like, this is fascinating to me. Something I've been thinking about lately is they'll run every Robin, every Kid Flash, every Superboy, every Speedy, whatever. The Wonder Girls, who gives a fuck?
Yep.
Like, I got a crazy stat for you. You know that Cassie has had her own series exactly once?
That's one more than I thought she would.
Yeah.
Honestly.
She had a 6-issue miniseries in like 2005.
Crazy. And you know, I have a theory about that. I think the problem is the way these companies think that we view female superheroes.
Yeah, they think that you won't buy it.
Yeah, I think they think that you can show Batman and Green Arrow and Superman and Barry Allen being kind of like fatherly figures and still seem cool, but they don't know how to translate that to one.
Yeah,
they think she either has to be fully badass or full set.
Yeah, like Wonder Woman cannot be motherly to Donna or Cassie, despite the fact that they're her sisters. She doesn't have to be motherly. She could just be their big sister.
And I think what supports this theory is, remember when I'm having a major brain fart. When Wonder Woman's mother took over as Wonder Woman, but they still wrote her just like she was just regular.
No, like she was still Diana.
Like,
yeah,
like no difference, just different name.
Yeah,
and she's literally a queen filling in for her daughter, and they just don't give her any chance to be maternal. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's very weird because, like, I think Oracle proves you can do this with a character. Like,
Yeah.
especially the way they write Barbara now, where if if Cassandra and Stephanie are around, she kind of shifts automatically into being like their big sister. The same way
100%.
Dick shifts if Tim and Damien are around. But they do not afford that same luxury to Wonder Girl, to Cassie or Donna. And
It's very weird.
yeah, I mean, and it's Donna and Cyborg are kind of interesting to me in the idea that, like, after like the year 2000, it was like, all right, the fuck do we do with these characters?
Yeah, which Cyborg confuses me because I feel like even just his very existence is a story ripe with all kind of potential. Especially once they started putting him more with the Justice League than the Teen Titans.
Yeah,
Because then you kind of have the conflict. Because that's quite a cat. Before the New 52, there weren't a lot of Titans that made the full-time Justice League.
no, it was Dick, Wally, Donna, and that was basically it.
Yeah, and Roy joins very, very briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at least with Donna and Walt, when they got the Justice League call-up, they were like actively filling in Bantam.
Yeah, well, yeah, Donna, I don't think becomes Wonder Woman. I think she becomes Troya.
Oh, yep, you're right.
She gets her own identity, which is cool. But Wally is the Flash, and Wally was the Flash from like 1986. He was the Flash and the only Flash from like 86 to Infinite Crisis when Bart becomes the Flash because Wally stays inside the Speed Force to try and hold back Superboy Prime.
Which just for Wally West, man.
Man, they shelved him. So I was gonna get into it before. There was a list of characters that they just shelved early in this. Like they were just like, you can't use. This is what led to them creating Harper Row. Was they wanted to use? I think they wanted to use either Stephanie or Cassandra for something, and they told editorial told Snyder no, so he came up with Harper. Actually, given her origin, she was probably supposed to be Stephanie, and they said no.
Yeah. I can see that.
And they told him no, and also on that list of characters you couldn't use was Wally West. For whatever reason, they were just like, no Wally. And I think it was because they wanted to bring back Barry for whatever reason. And they didn't want to have two Flashes running around, and they didn't want to de-age him and make him Kid Flash because Bart is Kid Flash now.
Yeah. And I think that they have nobody to blame there but themselves. Because when the first time I saw a panel of Wally and Barry next to each other, I'm like, why the fuck didn't they give Wally a new costume?
Yes. Yeah, they're wearing the same costume, and it's like, uh-oh, this is confusing because we don't know which Flash is which. And it's like, then maybe you shouldn't have fucking brought back Barry Allen, a character no one missed.
Exactly. Like, Barry Allen was so much more important as the guy who sacrificed himself than he was as an actual functioning member of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Like, he worked better as a martyr.
Exactly. And Wally walking around wearing that costume makes more sense if Barry is dead.
Yes.
Because he is like, I decided I'm going to take up for my uncle. Because it's not even like he's an adoptive family member. Like, Barry is Wally's uncle by marriage.
Yep. Like,
it's not even like a distant thing. That's his family.
Yeah, like that's his Uncle Barry. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like we've gotten sidetracked.
We have
from the terrible book we're supposed to be talking.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back into this. So Jason and Roy have the conversation here for the first time, where, again, this has been 3 weeks. Jason says, turns out Tamaranians don't see humans as much more than sights and smells, and they have a terribly short attention span about all things Earth. Seriously, when you get a chance, ask her about the gang you used to hang out with. And then Jason goes off to talk with Essence, who sucks.
Oh, I hate her.
Talking about characters.
Scott Waddell's got to see me in the street about her. Like, we got to have a conversation about this, because what the fuck?
Yeah, so Essence comes up. Also, nobody but Jason can see her, I should add. Also, this is the first time I noticed Jason doesn't have his streak in his hair here.
Yeah, very off-putting.
It's very weird. Because he looks most like Dick he's ever looked here in this close-up shot. Because he doesn't, like, his hair is kind of lighter in the front, but he's supposed to have, like, a big white streak in his hair. Also, side note, remember when Grant Morrison decided that that Jason was a redhead and dyed his hair black? I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was it was a neat little wrinkle for Jason's character, but boy, did it make Batman.
It made Batman seem like a real fucking dickhead.
Like, and he's like, oh, my hair. And didn't they say that his hair was graying and thinning because of the hair dye? Like, oh my god.
That's fucked. So we get the page where, so Essence is like, yeah, it's the Untitled. Who gives a fuck about the Untitled? The Untitled are your primary villain of this first arc, and they suck. Nobody cares about the fucking Untitled.
At all. Like, it should be a warning sign if you have the big supernatural threat, but I don't know. Constantine doesn't care. Like, Zatanna's not going after them. They don't fucking matter. Like,
fuck, this book might have made more sense with fucking Zatanna here. God damn it.
Yeah, it very well could have.
Honestly, the Outlaws name kind of feels like they wanted to play on Batman and the Outsiders. But this being Red Hood and the Outsiders would have also made more sense.
Yep, it definitely would have.
Because that's who they are. Outsiders for these characters makes way more sense than Outlaws.
And I don't know. I had heard that they were. I remember hearing rumbles of this even before New 52 that they were trying to get rid of the Outsiders as a team. Period.
Really?
At some point. Yeah, and I don't know. I never heard a reason why. It would. You know, it's the fucking internet.
Because they said fuck Metamorpho specifically.
You know, like him and Katana. They need to.
They said get these motherfuckers out of here. Steel's kid, you're gone. Black Lightning's kid hit the bricks.
You know.
Okay, so we get another terrible Corey page here, where she is bent. She's fully bent over, back arched, like handing Roy a towel, or Roy is handing her a towel. It's unclear. And Roy is, while definitely staring at her titties, says, "You don't remember anyone named Dick? Nope. Garth, Dustin, Vic, can't recall. Lilith, Gar, you are boring me." And then we get the reveal that nobody else can see Essence, which again, not important. And then Corey goes, "Hey, you want to go fuck?" This is not an exaggeration. She literally says, "And we're here. Do you want to have sex with me?"
No subtlety, which is another thing that I don't like, is that he can't decide if Corey is a very blunt, say things exactly as she sees it person, or if she's quippy and clever like Jason and Roy are.
Also, that she does not emote here. Like, this is my biggest problem with this depiction of Corey. She does not emote until, like, issue 5.
Yep.
Her two emotions are, the two things we see with her in these first 2 issues, she's either annoyed or horny.
And then later, she adds angry to her repertoire.
Yeah. Yeah, so she and Jason go off to, or she and Roy go off to bone. Because he says, "Anything I need to know about making love to a Tamaranian?" She says, "Just that love has nothing to do with it."
All
right. My note for this specifically is, making Corey's one emotion horny is such fucking Wattpad shit. Fucking FF.net lemon thick bullshit.
Yes. It's like I said, she sounds like she's in a fucking hailstorm song. Love has nothing to do with it. Who talks like that?
And like she's an alien, sure, but that's just not a. The problem is that
if she had hit something like a human cannot possibly understand what love means.
What love means to a Tamaranian. Like, the thing is about Corey is, and we talk about this in the Judas Contract episode, Corey is like a deeply emotional person. She's so emotional all the time. In those fucking 6 issues we read, 6 or 7 issues, whatever it was, she cries 3 times for different reasons.
It's so startling to have heard y'all talk about that, and I'm the whole time like, yeah, I remember. Like, I forget this character has that potential.
Yes, this is the thing that she does. Like, she cries when Dick gets brainwashed. She cries when Dick quits being Robin, and she cries again when Dick when she thinks Dick has sent her a present, and it turns out to be a trap from Deathstroke. But she cries 3 times for 3 different reasons, for 3 different emotional responses. She cries. She cries because yeah, she just wants to fuck. Which I have no problem with there being a female character who's just like, no, I just want to fuck. I think that as a note for a character rules, but that character can't be Starfire.
And only that, I feel like, this is coming from possibly one of the most resistant saying this, but there has to be more emotion than that. Nobody's one emotion is horny.
Nobody is just horny all the time and nothing else.
Like, that's not how people are built. Like, I don't know. This is a very confusing book.
Yeah, so we get 2 little things that will come up later here. We see somebody has posted a picture of Corey on the internet, and we see this dude with a 2 haircut all the way around. Say a Tamaranian on Earth at last. And then we see Corey and Roy in bed together, just laying there. Jason walks in and kind of looks at him and grabs his helmet. Like, again, I think that's pretty funny. He walks in and just kind of looks over. He's like, okay.
And he also completely no-sells it.
Yes!
Like,
he doesn't.
He's just like, okay.
Yeah, sure, all right. They've completely fucked this room up. There's like Corey apparently uses her powers when she comes. I don't know. Because
okay, so look, I'm very glad you said that, because the note I had was, did she use her powers on him, or is she just hot? Because they make a couple of jokes, and it's never explicitly stated. Like, is she just that hot that she's hot to the touch, or was she like zapping this man while they had sex?
I think that she just gets hot because the headboard is burned and Roy has a burn mark on his chest, like in the shape of her handprint.
And he even says at one point that it's like sunburn.
Yes.
Like, holy shit! Like, what? I gotta put on SPF to lay down.
So Jason, again, 12 hours later, shows up at the Well of the Allcast, which I want to talk about the Allcast for a second. Basically, he finds out that they're all fucking dead and zombies. But the Allcast as a concept, I think is kind of cool. I think the idea of giving Jason some extra training that isn't tied to Batman or the League explicitly is pretty cool.
Yes, I do agree there. As a concept, I don't quite...
And I think it fails, but I think it's cool on its face.
So the idea that the Allcast were all trained to kill the Untitled, even though they've had I think they say centuries long, like, ceasefire, is very kind of odd to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so y'all are just trained in to hurry up and wait? I don't...
Yeah, they're me playing Civilization. Just training just a half dozen tanks. Just watching that turn counter tick down.
It's kind of like this is a weird reference, but I've been stuck playing one of those Mafia games, constantly chill out on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that, where you train up and get all these troops, but once you get to a certain level, nobody fucking
right.
You sort of like, yeah, the Allcast, that whole storyline to me is, like you said, I do like the idea that he gets some more training and kind of maturation.
He gets a thing that's unique to him, I think is the part that really matters here. Like, again, not to This is not the Tim Drake episode, but my favorite thing about Tim being the first one that they decide, all right, this dude likes dudes. It's now a note they can't give to Jason.
Yeah.
So now a note they can't give to Dick without also giving it to Tim. Like
it's one of those things where, like, when you think about it and you look at there's always been more Robins, but the 4 core Robins, all of them except I think Dick, before the New 52, they all had League of Assassins.
Tim was briefly the leader of the League of Assassins.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Ra's al Ghul threw him out of a window.
Which is a good way to do that. Like, all right, detective, see you around.
He says, good job, detective, and fucking kicks him in the chest.
So like you said, I do like that idea that it's him getting some training that's different.
Yeah.
And adds like a different flair to him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I just, the whole concept of the all casting, so, ugh. Maybe it's because it's so poorly executed. Like, maybe if somebody else had tackled this, I would have more.
Yeah. God, I'm just thinking, like, man, wish Grant Morrison wrote this.
Yes.
Because they would have killed it. So we flash back to a year and a half prior to when Talia takes Jason to the League of Assassins, or not to League of Assassins, to the All Cast. He's like wild disrespectful to the old lady who becomes his teacher. This is actually where I noticed that Jason's streak is gone, which feels like an unnecessary change because it's the visual thing where you mark him as different than his brothers. Yeah,
I hate when people draw, like, it'll have, like, Tim, Jason, and Dick, and the only way you can tell them apart is that Dick's hair is a centimeter longer and Jason's slightly taller than Tim. I hate that. Like,
they should. So the way that I see them, Dick should have, like, Dick should be darker skinned than the other two because he's Romani.
He should be more slender too.
Yes, yeah, that's the thing. He should also be like a more slender build. Jason should have the streak and honestly be a little paler.
Yeah, I can see that.
Tim should look the most like Tim should just look like some dude, kind of. Tim should just be a guy, which like Tim should be built like a soccer player.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. I like that.
Like that should be how you tell them apart. Is Tim is a little shorter, but he's got a lot of tone on him. Dick is taller than him, but he's got darker skin, and he's slim, but you can tell he's athletic. And Jason should look like he just woke up.
Yeah, I like that. That fits. That's a good description. I like that.
So yeah, the old lady trains Jason. I won't bore everybody with the specifics, but then we get flashback to Jason and Roy on the plane here. My note here is why is Jason dressed like Bruce? This flight attendant looks like Power Girl and wants to fuck Jason.
Yep.
Like, it is weird how much like she looks like Power Girl. It's fucked up.
One note that I had before we move past it is, have you noticed that despite the fact that I think her name is Dukra, the old sensei lady?
Yeah.
Despite the fact she's supposed to be millenniums old, she just kind of talks like a regular modern person.
Yep, she kept up with the times. They get TV down in the well.
And later on, and I think the issue after this, they see this spirit that's taking the form of like that's supposed to be like guarding something special, and he does too. He just kind of talks very flippantly and modern, and it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, all I can imagine is that Talia was keeping them up to speed on shit.
You know,
she would come visit and drop off some magazines.
Gave him a fire stick. Hey, here you go.
You think the League of Assassins was like a dedicated guy who jailbreaks shit?
You know, all cast is down there trying to get the Wire season 3.
Jason comes down there. He does the whistle.
You know.
So they they land in Hong Kong. My note here is, why is Corey dressed like Sea Viper? Because she is! She looks like fucking Sea Viper here.
Oh, Jesus.
She's got the shades. Her hair is... Her hair is even parted the same way. Like, they just drew Sea Viper and colored it like Corey.
Oh, don't get me started on her hair. I hate her hair in this. Like, it's, in my opinion, maybe it's because her first exposure to me was the Teen Titans of the 80s. But, like,
Corey having straightened hair is a crime.
And what I also hate about it is they don't, like, I don't know if you, I know you have. I don't know if the audience has played Injustice 2, where she's a DLC character.
Mm-hmm.
They incorporate her hair into her powers. Which they do sometimes hair here, but it doesn't look good.
Yes.
It looks very bad. Like, her hair should be a fireball, literally.
Yes. But here she is, dressed like she's going to the fucking BET Awards.
Oh, I need that panel. I need that panel now. Jason's in like a turtleneck with a thin chain.
Corey looks like she's got to present fucking best female rap artist of the year.
You know? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, my brain created the mental picture of like Corey being a barb, and I want to kill myself.
Oh.
We're introduced to Susie Sue, an enemy of Jason's in Hong Kong. She's just here so they can make fat jokes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just so that they can make fat jokes. However, Jason does get a really good line here. That's the problem, is like Jason always gets really good, like one really good line in there. So he says, I don't even need to turn around and know that's you, Susie Sue. The unique scent of that undercarriage just wafts through the night air.
Yes. That got a good guffaw out of me.
He said, you stink.
The fact that I love specific jokes. Like the fact that he specifically went undercarriage.
Yeah. She tracks him to like one of his safe houses. He shoots her and her guards, takes his stuff and leaves. And so I assumed, oh wow, that'll be the last time we see this character. It's not.
Should be.
It should have been.
Probably should be.
It is not.
You know,
Jason and Roy get to all three of them are there. They get a helicopter airlift to the mountain where the well is. Jason has these very stupid blade wings.
Yes, the wings. So one beef I have, I forget who draws this. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Kenneth Rocafort.
Yes. He makes everybody's costumes look like real life Power Rangers.
And not in the fun way.
Yeah. It looks like Jason just slapped the Red Hood symbol on his chest and it just like unfolds in armor. Which another fucking thing about this costume. I hate that he's wearing a big red bat.
It's okay, so the reveal later, we're going to kind of go out of order here because we've been talking for an hour, and if we try to go in order here, we'll be here all fucking night.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's revealed later that this is a costume that Dick left with Corey.
So, which my question then goes, when?
When the fuck would he have worn this?
And what's crazy, I remember I didn't catch this when I first read it as it was coming out. I didn't notice until this reread, I guess because I had it digitally. Because I always thought it was a bird on his chest.
Nope, it's a bat. It's a big red bat.
So when was Dick just Batman Beyond? When did that happen?
Right. The implication is this is Dick's suit from when he was Batman. And for some reason, he decided to put a big red bat on it.
Like, I also love that she just has some of Dick's clothes.
Yeah.
Because doesn't she have a disco wingsuit? She
does. Which I will say, they update the disco wingsuit in this book, and I think it's a really good update.
Yeah, it looks good.
I think it looks great. Because they kind of blend it and the one with the big gold V on it together.
Mm-hmm.
The
It's
costume.
kind of. I thought about this when y'all talked about the juice. It's a shame that as they keep doing Nightwing outfits, that they just don't embrace the.
Just put the gold back on the suit. It should be black, blue, and gold.
I don't know. It's a weird artist choice, but
Yeah.
just kind of have to go with what they've been doing for 30 years, I guess.
Yeah, just give it like a gold accent.
Yeah, like on the gauntlets or something,
Yeah. So they fight the reanimated corpses of the all cast. Jason puts his guns down and fights them hand to hand. Or does he use the swords here? Oh yeah, he's using like these fucking serrated knives or whatever. It's kind of, I think that as a touch for, like, I think this book does a lot for how Lebdell sees Jason. And the way that he writes Jason does kind of grow on me, and I think that's just because he's the one who's written Jason for the longest. And I just accept this is it.
So I'll say this. Does it grow on you, or do you just get comfortable?
I think I just get
'Cause I think
comfortable.
there is a difference. You know what I mean? I think there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Where you kind of get into the. It's kind of like a song that you don't like, but you hear it enough that you still know.
Yeah, it plays at
chords,
work, so you've gotten used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, oh my god, Scott Lebdell's Jason is the Beatles to me.
Yep. Ooh, I was about to say it's my party in the.
It's your what?
Beatles said even better. Party in the U.S. I know every word to that song, and I hate every moment of it.
Yeah, this is Scott Lebdell's Jason Todd is fucking Day Tripper to me. Where I was just like, yeah, whatever, the Beatles, and I'm just Day Tripper. Fuck. So issue 3, basically they give this little dude their most cherished memories. This guy who guards the all casts shit. So he's like just bored. He's like, man, might as well look at their most cherished memories. Starfire's favorite memory here is of just beating the shit out of some guy for when she was a slave on Tamaran.
Yeah. What I hate about that is that when they go back to Tamaran, they show her having a memory with Blackfire that should have been that. That should have been her.
That should have been her most cherished memory. Yeah. But
it kind of makes it supposed to pass a little bit, doesn't it?
Yes, her most cherished memory is not of like anything with her sister. It is she falls down in the mud, and one of the aliens, the Blight, I think we find out they're called later. And she falls down in the mud, and he picks her up, and he's like, I am sorry on behalf of all my people. You should be running free, young princess. And then she says, thank you for your kindness, soldier. Might I petition a boon from you? And then he says, of course, if it was within my power. And she says, drop dead, you sanctimonious puss. And just kills him.
And I might be wrong about this, but just to show how convoluted this book is, that's actually not the Blight. That's a different alien race that the Tamaran that they had to do a truce with. And then the Blight attacks later.
Oh my god. God.
A whole other alien race for no fucking reason.
Yeah, like, it's them getting into the chamber, but the real meat and potatoes of this issue is, like, they've been fighting some traps, who cares, is about their favorite memories. And I actually, again, I like Roy's favorite memory here, which is about after Ollie would have fired him, and he's fighting Killer Croc on a rooftop in New York. And Killer Croc is beating the shit out of him.
Because, Killer Croc, guy who shoots arrows.
Yeah.
Not hard to figure who's gonna win the hand-to-hand.
Yeah, and Killer Croc is like, motherfucker, are you using me to try and kill yourself? And he's like, look, I get it. Your life fucking sucks. I would love to snap you in two and throw you on the sidewalk. But I'm not going to do it for you. You want to kill yourself, leave me out of it.
Yeah, I think they call it suicide by Croc, I think is what they call it, isn't it?
Yeah, and he says death by Croc.
Yeah, death by Croc. and it's a really good. I do like that they balance showing Roy's addiction as an important part of him. They don't make it his full identity,
Right.
which I
Yeah.
like. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's different, but
It's
I
because
don't
what?
know how I feel. I don't know if it's just because I've been comfortable with the idea for so many years, but I don't know how I feel about them changing it from a drug addiction to a
To
drinking addiction.
drinking. I think drinking is a little more palatable than Roy Harper, heroin addict.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Because I mean, oof,
And I think
they
more
are.
people, I think it's easier to write because I think more people know somebody who is an alcoholic than people who know someone who has an addiction to hard drugs.
Well, to show you how America changes, that probably was true in 2011. Don't know about 2021.
Yeah, I think everybody knows somebody who's had a fentanyl run in
You know
these
what I
days.
mean?
Yeah.
But
Enough.
yeah, it's a really good moment for Roy, and I think I do like the fact that Killer Croc just becomes his sponsor.
Yeah, he's like, fucking stop that. Oh, he does. It just clicked in my head. Yeah, later he's talking about his sponsor, Waylon.
Yeah, you know,
It's fucking
I
Killer
love
Croc.
it.
So Starfire saves them from this big fucking monster. They find a clue that tells them they got to go to Colorado, and we get our one good joke for this issue, which is Corey, who looks I hate. Manny said, "Wow, she's fully just brassered out at all times in this, huh?" Because it is like they draw her chest first and draw everything else later.
Yep.
But Corey says after she gets swallowed up by this thing and she fights her way out of it, she says, "Those were unacceptable accommodations for a princess. Let us away." And as she carries them out of there, Roy goes, "Not too emasculating, huh?" And Jason goes, "You know what really is emasculating? Getting killed."
Yeah, and Roy's pout there is really good.
Yeah,
It's a
he's just like really upset about it.
a really good little panel there.
Yeah. So they get back. The little dude gives Corey and Roy their memories back. And Jason's like, "Yeah, whatever. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't
Which
care."
I hate.
Yeah. I
Oh
don't
my
care about
God.
my most cherished memory. It's your most cherished memory. And the memory, as we see it, is of a time where Jason got sick with the flu and didn't want to go, and Bruce tells him, "Stay home," goes on patrol without him, and then comes back and just takes care of Jason. Just spends time with Jason. Jason's most cherished memory is of Bruce being fatherly to him. And
I hate this. I hate
Like-
this for a couple of reasons.
go ahead.
One, Scott Lobdell has done something that I didn't think was possible, which is in 2 pages, he writes Alfred Pennyworth like a dick.
Yes.
Because Jason says to him, Jason's like a teenager. He's like
He's like
13 or 14.
16 years old.
I don't think he's that old yet. This is
Jason,
like-
Jason, I think, is supposed to become Robin when he's 15 here. Because
Okay,
if we
got
were
it.
talking about his age in this book, I'm saying Jason is at oldest 20 to 21 in this title. So I'd say he's maybe 15 or 16 years old here.
And he tells Alfred, he's like, I'm not a baby. I don't need you to take care of me. And Alfred goes, well, I sure hope you would act like it.
He says, "I wish you would, Master Jason." I was like, who the fuck is this?
And then what I hate about it even more is that the reason that moment is so powerful is it's not just Jason having a good memory of Bruce. It's Bruce learning to be a father. Because
Yes.
as we were talking about with the timeline shift, like by the time Jason becomes Robin, Bruce is still pretty fucking young.
Bruce is maybe in his mid-30s here. Like, I think,
And,
to the point we're at now, Bruce is maybe 40.
If that, I think he's supposed to be even younger than that, frankly.
Mhm.
But
Well, some artists draw him with a little, like, light graying at the temples.
okay, gotcha. But yeah, like Alfred actually tells him, like, hey, like you need to. This is a moment where maybe going out there and punching poor people ain't what you need to. And it's a really great moment, and Jason's just like, keep it.
Keep it. I don't care. Which is to drive home that he doesn't. He wants really badly for everyone to think he doesn't care about Bruce Wayne.
Yes,
but
it's so painful to watch.
What everyone knows he does. So yeah, the reason I say Jason's maybe 21 here, but also probably using a fake ID, is because they are in a bar at the opening of the next issue.
He's remember he can if he can't make a fake ID, I don't know.
Yeah, he's got to have a fake ID guy.
You know. Oh wait, this is the bar, the small town cop.
Yes, the small town cop. Which I have a note for this.
Please indulge us.
So it's more about when they get to the cop. So I'll get to that in a sec. This is where we get the line where Roy says his sponsor Waylon, which didn't click in my head that he meant Croc. Jason gets in a fight in the bar, just whoops these dudes' asses. Because the dude is mad that Jason is talking to his girlfriend, and Jason gets up and just kicks his ass. And then they get arrested. Starfire is supposed to be flying under the radar here. Except, and this is important, she leaves a giant trail of fire in the sky wherever she goes.
Just doing fucking donuts and loop-de-loops in the sky.
Like, this is supposed to be subtle.
Like, I get that they're in a world where superheroes exist, so maybe that shit's not as shocking as it would be to you or I. But I still think that gets some attention.
I mean, superheroes are as common as helicopters. You still notice when the helicopter is out.
Good point. Very good analogy. And even crazier, I believe it's nighttime.
Yes, it's the dead of night. Starfire gets jumped by Crux, who is just this big fucking monster dude. Hey, we did Man-Bat, but shitty. Crux is revealed later to be that dude with the Kevin Durant fade from before, who saw the picture of her on the internet and was like, a Tamaranian. What's his stupid ass backstory? I wrote something alien DNA. It's truly not important.
I'll go into it because it's really fucking. So his parents are two, I think, geneticists of like huge acclaim. And one night, randomly, and a Tamaranian ship crash lands. I don't know if they say if it's Starfire's or not, but it crash lands and kills both his parents. So he takes their research and starts like fusing alien DNA into himself to turn into a fucking kaiju to try to kill Starfire because he's mad that a Tamaranian ship killed his parents. Stupid shit, man.
It's very dumb. It's incredibly fucking dumb. So meanwhile, Jason and Roy are Jason is talking to the cop, and this is where I wrote the note down. Jason is cuffing a cop. This looks like porn.
It does.
Like,
I wish I had the. You may have the panel. The way she's looking back.
Yes, she's pressed up against the wall, looking back at Jason, who is pointing a gun at her and handcuffing her.
Like, all right, Abella Danger, let's bring it back down to like, fuck's sake.
Let's go Braves.
You know what I mean?
And then so they're talking about the Untitled again, and then she reveals, she's an Untitled. And now it looks like porn again because she's pressed up against Jason, stabbing him in the back.
Yeah, and it's not onomatopoeia, but the sound he makes when he gets stabbed, so bizarre. Because that is slightly sexual. It's like, no, you're being stabbed, son.
Yeah, the way that the cop, Untitled, whatever the fuck, the way she talks to him, she says, "You're one of Dooker's pets. It's to your credit and smell her on you back at the bar." It's just like, no need to struggle, pup. Once I've eaten your liver, I'll know everything you know. Hold still. This
Pup.
will only hurt a lot.
She calls him Pup.
She calls him Pup.
Why is this book so horny?
then Roy shoots her in the back of the head with like, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 arrows.
It's weird to think about, but like, there's not nearly as much trick arrow shit as I expected when I saw that Arsenal was going to be. First of all, just to slightly backtrack here, fucking hate that he's still going by Arsenal when all he literally does is.
Yeah, he should just be Red Arrow.
Exactly. The whole point of being Arsenal is that he can do other stuff too.
Young Justice's version of Arsenal is better because he has a fucking robot arm.
You know, do something. Some shurikens, something, buddy.
Nope,
like,
just arrows. Just still arrows.
But yeah, I expected more trick arrows, but the ones they do use are. I'll give them that. Like, but it's still just it seems weird. He seems like he rarely does anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, you know, maybe if they had him going up against, you know, humans instead of aliens and monsters, but
it's like
keep that point home.
He'll get an exploding arrow and then a copper arrow with 3 heads, but it's all just like a normal arrow. This issue then Corey falls into this trap with Crux that takes her powers away, and this is another beef I have with this book. Every time I think they're going to do something interesting, they blow it off immediately.
Yep.
Because I thought the idea of Corey trying to adapt to not having her powers for a few issues would be really cool. She gets her powers back in the issue immediately following this one.
Wait, is it not the same issue?
No, she loses her powers in issue 5. Issue 4. Roy saves her.
Yep.
She fucking emotes for the first time.
That's right. Yep. I read them back to back, so I'm like, is it not the same fight where she just gets her powers?
Yeah, she gets her powers back as a like, haha, Crux, got one over on you. But this is where that line is where you talk about where Roy compares touching Corey to like getting sunburned.
And I hate Crux because so I expect them to do a thing where they kind of touch on like the xenophobia and stuff that Starfire faces as an alien.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because this was written in 2011.
Yep.
So I kind of expect that, and they just don't. The only reason Crux is doing it is so they can steal his fucking ship.
Yeah, so they can steal the ship later. Yes, so they can explain how they get this ship. But yeah, so Corey emotes for the first fucking time here after Roy saves her from Crux with he uses like an electric arrow. Because they notice her power signature, and so they're like, shit. Jason's like, hey, I'll deal with this. You go help Corey. And so Roy saves her, and Corey cries because he's so nice to her. This is the first time that she has emoted on page. Remember, this is a monthly comic. This book comes out once a month.
That's almost half a year, buddy.
Yeah, and this is the first time she has done anything but be horny or angry or snarky.
I just remember reading this in real time was just, and you know what the worst part is? It's my fault. It's my own fucking, because I think if you're to hear this in 2021, people won't believe it. But back then, Jason Todd was not super popular.
Yeah, Jason has only really recently gotten, I'd say last 3 or 4 years, he's really jumped in popularity. But when I first got into comics, which was around when this was coming out, 2011, 2012, Jason was just the Robin who died.
Yeah. And I defended so much of this book knowing it was shit just because I couldn't abide. But my God, it deserved it. It deserved every piece of slander.
Yep. So Roy, I wish I liked this moment with Roy and Corey, but they don't give you enough time with it to actually like it.
Yep.
So Corey says, "You're very kind," and he's like, "Yeah, you'll ruin my reputation." he says, "You've been hurt, Corey. Well, not just you, me, Jason, but we found each other. We're gonna be fine." And Corey, crying, says, "That isn't the most ridiculous promise you've ever made me." This Roy and Corey's relationship should be interesting.
Yes. And that line in particular, where I thought that was going, is I thought we were going to get a reveal that Corey's been faking the all humans look alike to her thing.
Yeah.
Because it seems like such a loaded little way she says it that it's like they haven't been together long enough for him to be making these grandiose promises.
They've known each other a month at this point.
Exactly. So like, is she representing some Teen Titans shit? Like, that's where I thought that was going, and of course that's not. That's too interesting.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's too interesting. We got to get back to the Untitled.
Such a bad name.
Okay, so it being the Untitled, it feels like they could not come up with a name. Right. You know how when songs are titled Untitled because they couldn't come up with a fucking name for it?
Yeah, which, you know...
Or they're D'Angelo.
I was going to say, huge sidetrack. What annoys me the most about that is that every song that's ever been named, like, the thing that people call it the most would be the best song title.
Untitled, like, by D'Angelo, the parentheses should just be the title. The song should just be called "How Does It Feel."
You know, listen, we'll save that for the music podcast.
But yeah, then fucking Crux comes back and also Crux hates aliens. We should add Crux hates just aliens generally. And he grabs Roy and starts whooping his ass, and he's like, "You want to lie down with this alien dog? Then die like one."
Which also, so listen, I don't want to be this guy. I really don't want to, but it's stuck in my head, so I have to put the bug in your brain too. But I hate when media tries to use a like racism or xenophobia analogy, and the bigot is a person of color.
Yes. So Crux, you don't see him a lot in his human form. Crux is black. And
he's saying this to a Navajo man, which also, another thing, I hate that they do that. I think there's maybe 2 references to Roy.
That they never talk about the fact that Roy's Native American?
Like, and it's not even like, he's not like, oh, guess what, my mom was Cherokee. No. Like, before he lived with Ollie, he lived on the fucking red, bro.
Like he's like fucking Warpath. Like,
yeah, like I just
he's like Warpath, or Danny Moonstar, or Thunderbird.
You know?
Fuck, I wish we were just talking about Warpath.
Yes.
Fuck.
Sign me up for that fucking podcast. Fuck. Or Danny Moonstar, honestly, man.
All right, New Mutants. We'll do it.
You know? You tell me that there's a Native American battle. Hold the fucking 2 feet first. Like, but yeah, I think I hate that trope in media where the bigot has to be a person of color. And I don't know what's trying to be achieved by that. I mean, maybe I do. I think I'm trying to achieve that, but it's still safe. Like,
yeah. But I was gonna say before, Roy and Corey's relationship should be really interesting. Like it, but we never see it develop in this way where like we see them sleep together once, then here he's like holding her, and then later I think she calls Roy her boyfriend.
Yeah, consort is the exact word.
Consort, yeah. Which, you know what? Good for him. They beat Crux with some. Oh, Roy detonates all his arrows, and they throw Crux into the ice, and because they're in Colorado. I don't know if I mentioned that. They're in Colorado. They blow him up. He freezes. And then the sun comes up as Jason is stabbing this Untitled in the chest, and the Untitled turns back to being human, or to looking human, as Jason...
This was great. This I legitimately actually really enjoyed.
Yeah, Jason's just sitting there on top of the sheriff, having just stabbed her in the chest, and he's like, I'm not even going to try to explain this.
Like, oh, well, y'all have a good one.
He runs through like Tony Schiavone at the end of an episode of Nitro. We gotta go! We're out of time!
Oh, that's good. That's so good. Oh my god. But yeah, the long and short of it is
Corey gets her powers back. They beat Crux because Corey went through some experiments that, like, okay, so this is the biggest Deus Ex Machina, and not even in like a fun way. It's just like, fuck, all right, I guess, whatever. He's like, hey, didn't you take your? He's like, hey, what the fuck? You got zapped and lost your powers. He's like, I did, but if it's anybody else, it would have worked. But because I was a slave for 10 years, they did experiments on me that just altered my physiology, so it wasn't permanent.
Which
also,
is just such a fucking cop out.
Fucking Corey trying to be human and learning how to handle herself as a person now with not having superpowers, but also wanting to still help Jason and Roy. Again, is something that could have been interesting. But they don't do anything with it and resolve it an issue later.
And what gets me is, why plant that seed? She's already an alien. She already is, for the book she's in anyway, super overpowered. Why does she need to be an extra special alien?
Like, remember when Storm lost her powers because of that gun that Forge made in the 80s? Remember how Storm doesn't have her powers for years after that?
Yep.
And then eventually gets them back, but doesn't have them for years and has to learn to fight without them. And it has to be interesting without them.
But you know, I'll tell you this. I have a theory that after House of M, I think that comic creators are very terrified of depower.
Yeah. Just not, we can't take these people's powers away because we did that already.
Because that was such a, like, I remember that was really when I started paying attention to comics kind of seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And like the possibility of like, oh, you know all these X-Men, you probably know 50 X-Men off the top of your head, maybe 20 of them still have powers.
Right.
And then they kept finding ways to slowly get the powers
They depowered
back.
Jubilee.
And then gave her powers back because she became a vampire.
Okay, Vampire Jubilee rules.
She does, but I just think it was weird that she got her powers back too.
Yeah.
Like, vampirism cured her X.
Yeah.
Like,
she gets her powers back. It's a lot.
But yeah, I think after that, I think comic creators are honestly just like depowering characters for too long.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could do 6 issues.
Yep.
Do an arc where she doesn't have her powers and then have her get them back. And now, or her powers have evolved now. Because I don't think she ever does the fucking eye laser thing here.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, she's just hands. So issue 6 is how Jason and Corey met. Jason fights some dudes underwater, washes up on the shore, and Corey rescues him. And so this is, again, I feel like this should be interesting. This is that thing we were talking about, where she's like talking about Dick and how she kind of remembers him.
Yeah. But once again, it's nothing. It kind of makes me feel like they committed to that bit so early and then tried to retcon it.
Tried to walk it back, but it was like, nope, that's stuck.
You know, you're not even 10 issues in and you're trying to like repair stuff. Come on, man. That's not gonna work.
This is where we get that that take 2 on the Disco Wing costume. I think this costume is great.
Yeah, I agree, man. It looks good. Like, it sucks we only get 2 panels of it. You get the flashback of him wearing it,
and then we see Corey holding it later.
Yeah.
And so we just get Jason and Dick. It's this flashback. Jason's having a dream about it, and Jason and Dick are talking, and Dick's like, "You just got to be patient, man. You know, trying to impart Big Brother wisdom on him." And he's like, "I don't need you. I don't need you to tell me how to do this because you left me to fill your shoes, and Batman picked me. Batman picked me, not you." And he's like, "Fucking." Dick's like, "Fucking relax."
Yeah, exactly. Which once again I hate because they just default to making Jason just the angry Robin.
Yeah.
Like I fucking hate it. Like, and you know what I think would have made that better is if they have one panel of him like of Jason like swinging away, and then Nightwing goes after him and basically says, "Listen, you little shit. Like I'm trying to help you. Like
this shit is
I'm
not
trying-
easy. This shit is fucking
Exactly.
mentally and emotionally taxing, and I've been doing it for a few years. So I think I'm uniquely equipped to help you with this."
And what another thing that really burns me up is that when a lot of people write Jason with reference to how he talks to Dick specifically, I hate that they overlook the fact that Jason died in both post-crisis and New 52 continuity. He dies because he gets sloppy.
Yes.
And he never, even if he realizes it to himself, he never like
Admits
appreciates
that.
the fact that, oh, Dick tried to keep me straight and I didn't
Right.
take
I
it.
didn't
You know
listen
what
to
I mean?
you. I didn't take your advice. I thought I didn't need your help. And that
And
got me
as a result,
killed.
I had a crowbar.
Right.
You know
I
what
got
I mean?
beaten to death because my mom set me up. Which I feel like that's the part that always goes unstated, is that Jason finds his mom and then she's working for the Joker and the Joker murders him.
Yes. So I do like that in the New 52. I think I did go over this in the annual? No, the zero issue.
Zero, yeah.
I do like that it's implied that Joker has her like up and it's kind of controlling her. 'Cause
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense than
That
her
makes
just
a lot more
standing
sense than her just selling her son out.
up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, But
And-
yeah, I wish that we gotten more of that young Jason and Disco Wing interaction as opposed to just that little snippet we got.
Yeah. Dick's clothes are just here.
Yes.
Like, she's like, "Oh yeah, there's some male clothing here, and it's 3 different Dick suits. It's the Disco Wing costume. It is what looks like his first New 52 costume, the Higgins and Barrows costume, and this fucking what becomes the Red Hood costume."
And you know another thing that just a very small, not even a continuity thing, but just a very small thing that irks is that I understand that she has them for sentimental reasons, but there is no logical reason that Corey should have any of these.
Yeah. She should
Because
have
it's not
the
like-
blue one would make sense if she had the Disco Wing costume. That makes sense if we're extrapolating it back to the other stuff because they were together when he wore that costume.
True, but I don't see a scenario where he would just leave a suit there. Because remember, this is supposedly the island she crashed on. So it's
Right.
not like this is her apartment in Gotham and he's like coming in there, switching clothes, and then going on patrol. This is an island in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, this is in
You
the
tell me
wreckage
that-
of her spaceship on an
This
island
man
in
coming
the middle
all
of
the way
nowhere.
out there for a dick appointment, wearing his superhero. What?
Yeah.
Is it a kink? Like, does she need that? I don't get why she has 3 of them.
Dude, what?
Like, you just imagine Dick in the back, like 2 a.m.
Just like
So
you
it's
up.
fucking Batman Beyond outfit.
God.
He just texts her outside, and the Batman's just fucking hovering above.
He said, "My Uber's here."
You know?
Left the suit 3 times.
Yeah.
Jason's
Crazy.
Jason is pretty reasonably pissed off about it. He's like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck? Why do you want me to dress? Basically, why do you want me to dress like my fucking brother? What's your problem?"
Especially considering, like, and this is another thing that's kind of weird to me, is I feel like the way they write it, it kind of implies that Jason doesn't immediately recognize her. But he should, right?
Yes.
I
Because
feel like an orange alien that's fighting crime with your
you would
surrogate
remember
brother
if
is
your
somebody
you would remember if your
that's-
older brother dated this girl.
yeah, like that felt a little weird to me.
Also, there's a Robin suit here too. I should add there are multiple Robin suits here.
Oh yeah, there is, isn't there?
Yes, I'm looking at the page right now. There's like 2 Robin suits laying in the chair, and then there's like one laying in like a basket. There are at least 2 utility belts, a cape. Like what the hell?
You know what? The more I think about it, I wonder if she just raided his room at Titan's.
Yeah, he just took all the shit.
You know? He's like, oh man, my AC/DC tape. I wanted that.
She's like, this human, I have memories of him, happy memories. We spent day and night together when I first arrived on this planet. And she's like smelling the clothes here. And also, Roy being Arsenal in these flashbacks is fucking stupid.
Yes.
He should be red. He should be Speedy or Red Arrow there. Yeah.
I don't. Well, I've also had the theory as a Green Arrow super fan. I think they just hate the mantle of Speedy.
They're like, it's a dumb code name.
Yeah, I think they've been trying to distance themselves from that.
They're like
because
Speedy
when,
because Speedy makes more sense as a code name for a Flash sidekick than.
Yeah, and even like when Mia Dearden is Speedy, they don't call her like she's Speedy. Her code name is Speedy, but they don't explicitly call her Speedy on very often.
They call her Mia most of the time.
Yeah, so I think they just hate the name Speedy.
So like it doesn't make any sense for anybody to be a Red Arrow character or a Green Arrow character called Speedy. But yeah, this is where that line comes up where Corey says, "His name escapes me. I'll remember him when I see him again, but I do not define myself by the men I have known or by their clothes, and neither should you."
Which what? Come on now. You couldn't think that was a bar. You can't make me that he put that into his word processor and sent it off to the tutorial.
And editor was like, "Yeah, that's a good line."
You know what I mean? Like you can't make me believe that.
Yeah, and so Jason goes to Corey in the middle of the night. She's like standing in the ocean, staring at the moon, like a Census Fail song. He says, "Hey, look, we gotta."
Life is not a waiting room.
Life is not a waiting room. You are the ocean. You are the moon. So he says, "Hey, there's something you should know," and then she kisses him, which she says, "It is one of the ways my people assimilate knowledge, language knowledge. This is not how that power works."
And if it does, since she has kissed him, and
she should know all these things.
She should immediately remember Dick Grayson. It's one of maybe 5 people they know in common.
I should add, this is a good point for me to say this, because I was thinking about it earlier. Jason being kind of defined by Dick is weird. And it's weird for a number of reasons, because if you want to have Jason have baggage with one of his brothers, it's Tim. Yes.
But I will say that honestly, my favorite scene in this entire run.
Oh, is when they have breakfast?
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's a couple issues after this.
We'll talk about it when we get to that.
Yeah. So just because Jason before, he's not angry so much as he is resentful. And that's kind of the thing is I feel like Jason reacts the way, in terms of his emotions, the way that anybody would react if they had been murdered and their father figure had seemingly replaced them with a new son.
Yes.
Jason, Jason resents 2 people, or 3. Here's the things Jason resents. 1, Bruce Wayne for not avenging him. Tim Drake for not replacing him. And the Teen Titans as an institution for not bothering to remember him.
I absolutely love, because it's the righteous. I love how Jason Todd is like, fuck the Teen Titans as a company and
A brand, a record
Fuck
label,
the concept.
and a crew.
Right.
And if you're down with the Titans, then fuck you too. Tim Drake,
You know?
fuck you too. Garfield Logan, fuck you too. Die slow.
But you know, and it brings up a point you mentioning his connection to Dick, is that when he's talking to Roy about it, he flat out says that he's tried to kill Dick before.
Yes, that he's tried to kill Dick, and Dick tried to put him away for life.
Like, what's so severe about that is that the Red Hood works better, that whole Under the Red Hood storyline, if the focus is not that he wants to kill the Batman, it's that he's angry.
That he's fucking
But-
furious at them because
But
they
he-
didn't protect
just
him
flat
and
out
they didn't
said it.
avenge him.
But it's not like that's like from the outside looking in perspective. He just says, "Yeah, oh yeah, I tried to kill him."
Yeah, which I mean, he does try to do when Dick is Batman and Jason's wearing the real tall helmet.
Oh, the pillhead. Yes.
Yeah, the pillhead helmet. When it's him and Scarlet. Which, by the way, what the fuck happened to Scarlet?
Oh yeah, they put her on a boat instantly.
You are
But
out of
honestly-
here.
You know, that's one of the problems with Grant Morrison is that when they write certain characters, they're so Grant Morrison.
They're so Grant Morrison,
and
you can't do
nobody
anything
else-
with them.
Just like the Sandra Nova. Like people just
Yes.
won't touch it. It's like,
Cassandra
well, when they get back
Nova,
to it, they can pick something up.
has anybody even glanced in the direction of the White Hot Room since then?
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, yeah. Her backstory was just so tragic too.
Mm-hmm.
What was the Prince villain from Morrison's Batman run that didn't feel pain? Flamingo.
Yes.
Nobody was messing with Flamingo, man.
Okay, so Jason is so angry that Tim replaced him that he breaks into Titan's tower, beats Tim's ass, and writes Jason Todd was here in his blood.
Love it. Like, love it.
'Cause
Like,
he's
and
like-
that's like I
the-
said, to me, it's a very righteous anger. Like,
yeah, and his
you know.
anger with the Teen Titans is he's like, fucking Aqua Girl gets a fucking memorial statue, but nothing for me. I was a fucking Teen Titan.
like
Which you-
Wildebeest.
Wildebeest gets one. Nothing for
And
Jason.
It's not wrong. You're not wrong.
He's completely correct. They just forgot about him. Like Jason, Jason is at Tara's funeral. Like if you read the last few pages of the Judas Contract, Jason is there. Like he's a character who knows these people. And they just said, nah, fuck him. They just forgot him. He's totally right to be mad.
Was there overlap where he and Dick were both Rob?
No, Dick gives up being Robin at issue 40 of Teen Titans, and then Jason becomes Robin kind of in the intervening months before Teen Titans 44 comes out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Teen Titans was monthly back then, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. That tracks. Okay. Gotcha.
So Corey's power, that whole I can absorb your knowledge and information shit, she doesn't have to kiss people. Like explicitly. She could just touch you and she can learn your language. She kisses Dick because she wants to. She kisses Dick because she thinks he's cute.
And also another thing that's weird about that is it feels like it's a little nudge, wink, wink reference to the cartoon show.
Yes.
But at the same time, like I said, if that's what you're trying to do, you need to rebuild this Starfire.
Yeah, you gotta totally break her down and build her back up. Which they, what's her name? Amanda Connor, I think, is the writer. She does that. Amanda Connor's Starfire solo is so much fun.
Okay, I gotta look into that.
It's I think it's post Convergence, so I think it's during Rebirth. It's
Okay.
a lot of fun because it's what you would expect from a Starfire solo book. It's her doing a lot of stuff, but also getting acclimated to Earth and just being on her own on Earth. She's like, I think she's in. Now I think about it, I think she's in Miami. And like, there's an issue where somebody's like, "Hey, you gotta wear clothes." She's like, "Why? I don't get it."
Sure about that? I don't know if you're sure.
They're like, yeah, I mean, people get weird about it. She's like, I mean, I guess if I have to, but like, I'm just hanging out. And I'm having a good time.
I think that's also what annoys me is that pre New 52, he was she was a character that like the things that she did seemed sexualized, but not to her. Like I
Yes.
remember there was
Everyone else is like, whoa, that's kind of. She's like, what do you mean?
whose house was she at? I think she was staying with Animal Man randomly enough, and she's just like sunbathing, and his wife's like, "Hey, we have kids," and she's like, "Oh, do they want to sunbathe too? Why are you telling me this?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
but they turned that naivete into straight up, and it's like that's not what they that's not how that's supposed to work at all, actually.
Yeah. Also, just Starfire. I would like to reiterate. There's nothing wrong with Starfire being a sexy character. She is. Me and Jake talked about that on the last episode. She's allowed to be that. I have no issue with that. My problem is when she is written as sexual and nothing else.
Yes. And another in the following issues when they're in Tamaran, it also comes out that that's not even like a Tamaranian thing. It's explicitly her.
Yes, it's just her. That's the double down that really bothers it. Is it like
Blackfire looks at Roy and she's like, "Oh, please don't tell me my sister like had really."
yeah,
And
it's like no, she's just horny all the time.
Like it's I don't know, man. I don't know what they were trying to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
She feels like a fanfic character. She feels like a fanfic.
Yes, she feels like a different character. She feels like they wanted this to be a different character, and they were like, "Fuck, we got to make her Starfire." Also, I misremembered this issue because I thought that she and Jason sleep together at the end of it. They don't. They talk. They hug as the sun comes up.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Then what the fuck was Jason talking about when he said that they
He was saying it to fuck with Roy, I guess. Or it happens off screen.
Okay, because I was under that same impression until you said that just now.
Because Jason says in the narration, "We don't choose our teachers in life. Sometimes they are crazed vigilantes pretending to love us like a son. And other times they take the form of a space kitty who is smarter than anyone gives her credit for." This is where they do this again with her later, where Roy kind of refers to her as like a cat, which is weird because we don't see, again, the version of Corey we see in this issue 6. This is like a different character than the way she's characterized in issue 1.
Yes, 100%.
And then I did my last note for this. I do like that Jason appears to actually really like to love Corey in a platonic way.
Yeah, one thing I will give this book is that they kind of joke about not being a team, but these 3 people legitimately do love.
Yes,
it's one of the redeeming qualities of it. One of the very few that
because he has this great line. I do think this series of narration from Jason is really good. He says, "It's a load of bull to think of friendship and romance as being different. They're not. They're just variations of the same love. Variations of that same desire to be close. And now there is someone out there who knows me. Damn it."
Yeah, that's good. Like I said, I'll give him credit when he's good because that's good, man. Like it works. Like it's so crazy to think about, but like especially this, I think this is more so true pre-New 52. I'm gonna just start saying post-crisis. I feel like I've said pre-New 52 100
Yeah, post-crisis is good.
But post-crisis, it's like Jason Todd isn't even a person to most people. He's just a caution.
Yes. He's the concept of, the Robin who died and came back bad. He's like the Punisher for DC. That's...
Yeah, he's part that. He's also part Bucky, too.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people, if they weren't reading for years, there had always been, I think J. Jonah Jameson talked about Spider-Man. And he's like, everybody thought it was cool to have kids fight crime until Captain America got a teenager killed behind him.
Yes, yes.
Like, he's not a person. He doesn't have, like, friends. He's just a cautionary. Don't end up like Jason Todd.
Yeah, you don't want to be Jason Todd.
I mean?
Like, there's a line in Young Justice when Tim is kind of trying to take charge of everything, and Connor looks at him and says, who died and left you in charge? And Tim just kind of makes this face at him.
Oh God.
Or when Tim runs into the Joker for the first time, and the Joker can't tell that Tim isn't Jason.
Yes. So I think it wasn't the first comic book I owned, because that was Daredevil 227. But I think one of the first comics that I got from this old shop, like that used to be in town, for like 50 cents, was Joker's Wild.
Mm-hmm. Joker's Wild.
And it's so good. It's so good. I love
all that
it.
Dix and Robin stuff is good.
Yeah, it might. I guess for all I know, it could just be nostalgia, but like it's so good, man.
No, I went back and read it last year. It's so good.
Okay, good. If I trust you, you know. But yeah, it's and that's why I do like. I don't think they touch on it in this part of Red Hood, but I know you and me were discussing how they do kind of retcon that Roy and Jason have always been kind of friends.
Yeah, which is a nice touch. Which is yeah, of course they would have been. They would have been Batman and Green Arrow's sidekicks at the same time.
Yeah, and it's you sleep on it because he's always, I felt like he's always been in between generation, because
well, he
Dixon
is
generation. Yeah, he's in the Dixon generation with Roy and Walt, and Tim's in it with like
Connor.
Mia
It's Tim, Connor, Cassie, Mia, the other Connor, and Bart.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like Jason's just
he's kind of in between, but Jason is the two characters that Jason was always shown to have been kind of friends with are Donna and Roy.
Yeah, which just for Donna Troy, man.
Yeah. Fuck, bring her back.
Staying.
So issue 7 opens with Jason in disguise as like a doctor checking crooks into Arkham so they can steal a ship.
Okay, so once again, we have established that this team is the quote unquote outlaw. They are bad enough that when Superman meets them later, he says he should take them all to prison, right? Why?
We don't ever see them doing anything that bad.
Why don't they kill this guy? What reason is it to put him in Arkham?
Like, is the reason? I think he does say it.
Whoa! So they give a reason as to why they don't turn him into like the Authority, because he's like, oh, well, trying to kill an alien isn't a crime. He'll walk free in Arkham, but a bullet in his head.
Yeah.
You do that literally the same issue. Somebody's dangerous, tries to kill you, you kill them. That happens this same issue.
Yeah, because in this issue they fight Essence on the ship. That's this issue. Issue 7 is Essence.
So issue 8. Sorry, the next issue then, because issue 8 is the Susie Sue one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the next issue you kill somebody for being dangerous, but you let the kaiju live. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Again, Jason is talking to Essence, and we get the backstory that Jason and Essence had a thing. Because every woman in this book wants to fuck Jason.
Also, kind of creepy when you find out moments later that
she's 100 years old.
Like, very weird stuff.
Yep.
Like, she's fucking Melisandre. What is this?
Yeah, because then Jason's like, I trusted you, and now everyone is dead. You betrayed the Allcast. And she's like, don't do this to me, Jason, not to us. And he's like, there's not an us, and blah, 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 blah. What are my notes for here? My notes are, Jason fights Essence. Oh, they used to fuck. Of course, every woman wants to fuck Jason. She mentions that she was imprisoned by Trigon at one point.
Yep, and we don't think we ever hear about that again.
Nope, not important. Shut up, don't worry about it.
Well, and honestly, it's not fair of me to say that, because in the coming issues, she gets a backup story that I just completely ignored.
Oh yeah, so, I glossed fully over that because it's just boring. Like, that's this book's biggest sin, is that they start to do things that should be interesting, and then they're like, nope, let's be boring. She shows up. She beats those. She breaks Jason's all blades, which did not have a name to this point. I think I had started to write. I kind of like that Jason has these dumb little daggers. It's a neat thing for him. And then it's like, oh, they're gone.
But don't they? What's the gimmick with them? There's a. Don't they only facing true evil? Is that how he explained it?
Maybe.
It was something goofy like that, because when she fights him, he says, "I can tell you're the bad guy because my all stupid like some goofy shit, man."
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, we both know an all blade can only be drawn in the face of absolute evil essence.
All right.
That's Voltron. That's just.
And that concept is even funnier because if that's the case, how did they make them for you to train with?
Yeah. How did you?
Do you just keep it tied up, untitled down there?
Yeah. Yeah, then we get the backstory of the Untitled, which is that the Untitled basically broke off from the Allcast or whatever. Churning deep into the churning waters of absolute evil. The darkest energy in the world emerged from the earth as if from the very depths of the planet's soul. One by one, it entered all those who were there, starting with the weakest and building in ferocity with each of the 9 souls it consumed. Your beloved teacher Dukra was there that day. She was the most defiant among them. She was the only one of the Elder Clan to defy her brother, for all the good it did her. I know this all because I was there that day. I was there when my mother, Dukra, became forever linked to the Untitled.
Also, I hate that there's just 9 of these things. Because they talk about the... Well, maybe did they repopulate? Because they talk about
that's my guess, is that it was like it started with 9 and went from there.
Yeah, I was just done. But that's why I'm done.
No, I'll tell you, the next page is where I'm like, all right, this sucks. So Starfire pretty smartly blasts Essence here. With just turns it all the way up. Gives her the good stuff. She says, "Your flames mean little to one who was once imprisoned in the black heart of Trigon."
And nobody touches on it again.
No,
there is one.
Just really wanted to make this character cool. This whole book feels like a backdoor pilot for Essence.
Yeah, it does. That's a really good way of putting it.
It's like when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was like Mockingbird was like they tried to set up a Mockingbird show and then nothing ever came of it. And then Bobby is just never seen again. Yes. Bobby is in that show, and then there's a point where she leaves, and it is supposed to set up a spinoff that never happened.
Okay, because then they tried to do a Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think they might have tried to use that to set up a Ghost Rider show, and then nothing comes of it.
All right. I mean, okay. There's a moment I like during where Starfire blasts her, and she's like, and Jason's like, that like you're not doing anything, and she's like, "Are you dumb? I turned her to ashes." And Jason's
like, she's the smoke, and then she teleports like fucking smoke from Mortal Kombat and kicks Corey in the back.
Like just that rules. That was. I got a good reaction out of it.
Like she pushed down up and just bam.
Straight teleport punch. And it sucks because if Corey had just did a back block, she could have gotten next over with it.
Push R2. Come on.
She could have had a nice little punish right there, but
That's like minus 30 on block. You would have done great there.
Exactly.
So they beat her somehow. Oh, yeah, they beat her with
the teleport gun.
The teleport gun that Crux left. Because they're on Crux's ship.
Because this ship is just the biggest plot saver of all. It can do whatever it needs them. because it's got all this alien technology and shit. So it flies fast, it cloaks, it intercepts like signals and shit. It should be cool. I should like it more than I.
Yeah. Jason's jacket gets all fucked up here. Sucks to be him. So now he's just silver Batman with a red mask.
My headcanon is that jacket was wearing was the $300 contract y'all was talking about.
Wait, say it again. The $300 jacket that Dick was talking about in
He's just wearing all of Dick's clothes.
Yeah, he's just wearing Dick's clothes again.
You know.
And so Jason, out of nowhere, calls Isabel.
Yeah, like I really didn't understand what the
point of that was. He calls Isabel and then hangs up, like just doesn't say anything.
Like, I don't know, man.
So Susie Sue wakes up in the hospital, and she's like, I'm gonna fuck Gotham up. I'm gonna fuck this hospital up if the Red Hood doesn't come fight me.
And see, so this is another pet peeve of mine. So Scott Lobdell does a couple of things consistently that really annoy me. One is it seems like every issue or every other issue starts with narration explaining events that we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're reading this monthly ongoing. We know what. The second is he'll also over-explain something that you can.
Yes.
And then he also overcomplicates things for no reason.
Correct.
Like, why was this Hong Kong mob boss? Sorry, what?
No, I was going to say, this is the same man who decided that Monet Saint Croix would be revealed to be two kids in a trench coat. This is the same dude who was like, yeah, this is the most interesting character in this book. This character's really popular. Let's make her Vincent Adult Man.
Like,
and they took him off the book after that, and then and the subsequent writers put Monet back.
Yeah, because it's just like, and what always baffles me about that is why publish it? If you see the thing that's clearly made this big of a stupid mistake, why not just say, okay, let's delay.
Well, yeah, delay it and we'll figure it out. Because it was the wrap up of the plot where they were like, Sink does some shit and thinks, oh my god, I turned Monet into two kids. And then it was like, no, she was always two kids. And then they were like, okay, that's really dumb. It's two kids pretending to be their big sister, also their sister's penance.
Like, okay, so like they did all this just so they can go to the local and like watch what R-rated movie. Like,
they really wanted to go see Clerks.
You know? But yeah, I hate that. So this Hong Kong mob boss gets shot by Jason and airlifted to Gotham so that they can have Jason like fight her in Gotham. But
because they need Jason to be in Gotham because this is also the Night of the Owl.
Right. Whereas the easier thing to do would just make her a Gotham crime boss.
Because Gotham has crime.
And Jason would have a safe house in his hometown because he feels comfortable. Like, why does it have to, like, or another fucking idea, say that fucking Susie Sue, say he kills her in Hong Kong and like her brother is fucking Black Mad. Like, it makes no sense.
Because this whole story is an excuse to have Jason in Gotham during the Night of the Owl.
And it makes no sense to airlift somebody from fucking Hong Kong
to New Jersey.
Yes. What's the fucking point?
It's genuinely really fucking stupid.
Like you said, I know it's all just to have him in there for the Night of the Owls crossover, which I liked a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. Anything that involves so New 52 Mr. Freeze is really dumb. There's a lot of stupid retcons in the New 52. Mr. Freeze is up there, and I kind of love how stupid his retcon is.
Please do elaborate, my friend.
So, Mr. Freeze, you, dear listener, still listening to this 2 hours and 8 minutes in, may remember that Mr. Freeze is trying to find a cure for his wife, Nora, who has a mysterious illness, and he has had to freeze her cryogenically ever since. Except, what if I told you that she is not his wife? that Nora not only is not Mr. Freeze's wife, she's not his girlfriend, she's not a friend of his, she's not old girl from down the way. Nora has been frozen since the Eisenhower administration. Mr. Freeze is just totally enamored with her and is like, I'm in love with her. I must thaw her out so we can be together.
Oh my god.
And when Bruce,
what?
So he gets a job at fucking Wayne Industries at like researching like cryogenic whatever, and Bruce kind of catches wind of it and goes down there. He's like, "You gotta shut this shit down, man. This isn't. Can't do this. Let's not. No, bro." And he's like, Mr. Freeze freaks out, starts throwing shit at Bruce, and this leads to the accident that leads to him becoming Mr. Freeze.
That's so dumb.
It's incredibly dumb. I think it's the best.
I wonder if that's because his backstory originally makes him too sympathetic of a character.
Well, the thing is, that backstory was established after that character had existed for like 20 years. That comes back to the show. Because Bruce Timm and Paul Dini made him the sympathetic character. They then retconned it so he was always like that in the comics.
Yeah. Because one thing I do dislike about his portrayal a lot of times is that Mr. Freeze always felt to me, and I think it's maybe because when I started reading those retcons that are happening, is that he always felt like he should be a villain who wasn't actively like, he opposes Batman because Batman's
what?
Batman's in the way of his goal.
Yes.
Like, it's not like he's an actively malicious person. He should be like how he is in Arkham, basically.
Yes.
In the Arkham game.
Except all his plots are like him freezing Gotham.
Yeah. Like fucking nuclear winter. Like I don't know.
Also, when they add the retcon, it's established that his wife is already dead. I'm remembering that kind of right now, is that Nora is already dead and he wants revenge on the people he feels are responsible for Nora dying.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Continuity is
a motherfucker. Anyway.
The older I get, I think we should just make every comic book 10-issue continuity.
Honestly, I think everyone should just Grant Morrison it and just, all right, everything is canon all the time.
You know?
Anyway, we cut to Jason killing someone in Hong Kong. Or like, he's like crashing a funeral by stabbing somebody who was already in a casket?
Yes! What a great scene.
What a guy.
Like, he's just like, hey, this dead body here more? Don't care.
Anyway, I am desecrating your friend's corpse.
I'm running shit now.
You all work for me now. And they take offense to this, so Jason kills them all.
Pretty great stuff. Like,
so again, this feels like a setup for something that should be cool, because this should be just fucking Sleeping Dogs.
Yes. Oh, justice for fucking Sleeping Dogs.
Justice for fucking that game, that studio, Winston. Fuck Dog Eyes.
You know,
this motherfucker's name is Dog Eyes.
Well, my nigga Winston died. I say fuck school. God damn it.
So, yeah, it's whatever. Some shit about Hong Kong crime bosses that should be cool, but again, is not. This is... They have to save a children's hospital from Susie Sue. Susie Sue is going to blow up the children's hospital if Jason does not show up.
I'll be honest with you. This is some of my favorite action in the whole run.
Yeah, the action here is good. It's just the reason for it is stupid.
It feels like Roy and Jason can actually harm the people they're killing now.
Yeah.
You know? It's not a fucking giant dragon that's eating spirits and shit. Like, these are goons that...
Yeah, just dudes. Starfire turns them into fucking ashes.
Yes, which is fucking...
Like, she incinerates their bones.
Like, Jesus.
And they're like... She's like, too much? And Roy's like, no, they came in a children's hospital with guns. Fuck these guys.
You know? And I love how she's just like, oh, don't worry. I think I.
Yeah.
She channels all the hate from her being a slave and just fucking kills you.
Yeah. So Jason gets into an elevator, which is a stupid ass idea. Because then Susie Sue fucking King Kong Bundy's the elevator.
Just fucking drops through like earthquakes. Gator bombs this man.
It's time! It's time! It's Susie time! Time!
She straight fucking crushes the dude.
She crushes Jason. And she's like... what's the line? I'm 600 pounds of white-hot rage. I'll survive this even if you won't. And then Jason just puts a gun to her chin and is like, are you sure about that? You fucking idiot.
She's like, you're going to have to kill me because I don't know why I give her a redneck. But she's like, you're going to have to kill me because I'll never stop. And he's like, okay. And just blows her fucking head off.
Well, because, like, the elevator is falling and Starfire just catches it because she's fucking Starfire. Jason fights Susie Sue some more, and she's like, I won't stop for a second. As long as I still breathe, my only thought will be breaking your neck and licking the blood and bile that oozes from your lifeless body. I won't stop. Ever. And Jason, again, one good joke every issue. Jason says, I respect your decision. Blat!
That line is like some straight Cannibal Corpse shit.
Yes, I will lick the blood and bile that oozes from your body. What the fuck?
That's like, I mean, you know, I'm a big guy myself, but that's probably weighing 600 pounds.
That's some sick shit. Is the implication that she is eating her enemies after she kills them?
I think so. I think that's the implication.
That's fucked. So they leave, and the hospital is saved. The kids are safe. We did it, Outlaws. And they intercept a transmission from Alfred, and this is where we get that really good scene with Tim and Jason.
Yeah. So what I really like about this scene is that it kind of, I don't know if it's implied or supposed to be, but the way I took it is that if anybody else had come over that transmission asking for Jason's help,
he wouldn't have done it.
He wouldn't have done it. But the fact that it's specifically Tim is why he decides to help out. And I fucking love it.
Yeah, and he calls Jason directly. He doesn't say, hey, if anybody's out there, he says, Jason, if you can hear me, come help.
We could use your help, you know? And what I like about the little conversation that he and Tim have in that loft is something that to modern audiences may not seem strange, because I think since the New 52 started till now, I think every Robin has had a brush with death at some point.
Tim kind of, because Tim, they make it seem like Tim died. Tim was like the one who hadn't. Well, Tim and Dick. Okay. Then Dick gets shot by the KG Beast.
Yep, I remember that.
And then Tim, they think dies, but he actually gets saved by Valzad. or not Val-Zod, Zor-El. What were you saying?
But yeah, up until that point, like Bat family members don't really die.
Yeah, it's
And
at this point it's just Jason and Stephanie.
yeah, but I don't think Stephanie was she in the new?
No, she wasn't around yet. Stephanie is not reintroduced until Convergence and Rebirth. Like, Stephanie is just not around for like 5 years. And what sucks about that is she had just come back.
Yep, and her Batgirl run was good in my.
Her Batgirl run rules. Also, shout out to Detective Nick Gage.
Huh?
So Stephanie's, you remember the cop that Stephanie works a lot with in her her Batgirl run?
Mm-hmm.
You remember what his name is?
No.
It's Nick Gage.
Get out of here.
That man's name is Detective Nick Gage.
Damn, man, Stephanie Brown's a gang member.
MDK all day.
You know? But Tim has a line where he specifically, like, Jason's like, I haven't. And Tim specifically says, like, you died and you came back to life. That's rough. You're going to have a hard time transitioning. Like, I get that. And I just love that line because it makes you. Speedsters and Kryptonians and Lanterns, they die all the time. Bat family members don't die.
Right,
so
yeah. These are just normal people.
Yeah. So, like, I think I love that Tim's empathetic enough to. I get it, man.
I mean, and
like,
Tim also says, maybe we'll all get it someday.
And they sit and they bond over
Alfred's terrible waffles.
Oh, that's what it was, waffles.
Yeah. They're like, he says, just tell me these aren't Alfred's waffles. He's like, paste, right? He's like, God, he's so proud of it. You ever tell him? Fucking no, dude. Why would I tell him that?
But yeah, that's a really good moment, and I like that interaction.
Yeah. Then issue 9, we get our first tie-in issue. I will say this. They really held back on doing crossovers at this point because when I went back and I read the Dixon Robin stuff, the 93 series, that Tim does not get a story that's all his until like issue 10 because he's so tied up in Nightfall and Night Quest and in some shit with the KGBs. Like he's just so tied up in this other bullshit that then he finally gets his own story. So for this to go 8 issues and then have a tie-in that isn't that tied in, I think is great.
Yeah, Quiet as Kept, man. 90s Batman, just Bat family in general. So many events. It just
my God. From like
93
to 97, you get, or from 92, you get Nightfall, Night Quest, Night's End. You get Prodigal. You get Cataclysm, No Man's Land. But it just all in like back to back to back to back to back. It's crazy.
But, yeah, it's in my personal opinion, at least for Batman specifically, it's probably the worst time to read Batman because there's no like character development. There's nothing. It's just all reaction to events.
Yeah, it's reaction to events and then things that spin out of events. Like, I forgot that Stephanie getting pregnant is a byproduct of, the whole Stephanie is about to become a single mom plot is a byproduct of Cataclysm.
Yep.
Like her ex-boyfriend, the baby's father, is not around because he left after the quake fucking ruined Gotham.
Yep. I hate that storyline. It's not even that it's bad. It's just so dumb.
Cataclysm.
Like, yeah.
No Man's Land, I think, is good, but that's just because I like the idea of Bruce Wayne paying money out of his own pocket to rebuild the city.
Yes, you know where that would have made a good video game.
Yes,
but
that's what Arkham Knight should have been, actually.
Hot take, but I like it.
Yeah,
that to me seems so very far-fetched because the first thing that I feel like would happen if something like that hit Gotham is any one of the superheroes that have actual, namely Jon Stewart, who has a ring that can construct wherever he wants, and he
Used to be a Marine, yeah.
like I'm pretty sure he'd be like, well, okay, let's get some infrastructure.
Right, no, they're like, all right, Bruce, it's up to you. Fucking do it yourself.
Just fucking stuck eating pork and beans and shit.
Like, also, because Gotham is in New Jersey, it's a pretty major landmark. Like, imagine if Jersey City was just wiped off the map.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man.
It's across
That's
especially because Metropolis is supposed to be in Delaware, so Superman is right there.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know that. I thought Metropolis was supposed to be St. Louis.
No. Central City is supposed to either Central City or Keystone City is supposed to be St. Louis.
Yep, you're right. Yep, that makes sense. But yeah, like that's what, a 2-hour drive.
Yeah. Like, think of it this way: Dick moves to New York late in the Nightwing run before he becomes Batman, post Crisis, and it's like a drive. He just rides his motorcycle from Gotham into New York. The Teen Titans are based in Manhattan, and Tim Drake, as a 13-year-old child, leaves Gotham to go to New York to talk to Dick Grayson and comes back the same day.
Yeah. That's crazy put in perspective like that. That's See, audience, this is the kind of stuff you don't get with your average. This man just had that ready.
I just knew that.
Talk to him a little bit nice. Let's get
okay, let's get back into issue 9 because we're coming up on where we finished. We only read the first 14 issues of this book because this book is a drag, especially after this. I think this issue is like a real high point. I think issues 8 and 9 are probably the best 2 issues here.
And just to laugh at our own fucking hubris, we
were gonna do all 40. We were like, no, we could do that. We could bang that out in a week. No, I got to like issue 11, and I texted you. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Like, this is it's awful.
So they get to where Mr. Freeze is, and I think the reason they pick Mr. Freeze is they're like, all right, what's close enough to help everybody out, but I don't have to actually interact with them. I think that's a great character trait for Jason to have. Is like, look, I'm not going to fucking family dinner. I don't.
Yeah, I do love that little part where he's like, all right, I want to help, but I don't want to be.
I don't want them to see me help them.
Like, I don't have a conversation here. What are we doing?
Jason is... I feel like if Jason had lived, he would have gone to college, but gone to college just far enough that if they absolutely need him, it'll be an hour. Like, they're in Jersey, I could see him going to Pitt.
Yep. Or fucking... or he's going to, like, fucking down to...
Down to what?
Just down in, like, Virginia. Just far enough where...
Yeah.
Don't call him. Don't expect him there every weekend, but he can get.
Right, you need him. He'll be there. Jason Todd, star 2-guard in Villanova.
He averages 10 points, 3 steals, and 5 fouls a game.
He's real good energy for you.
The fucking Christian Laettner of his generation.
Actually, you know what? Jason would go to Duke.
Yeah. He's such a big guy.
He's a scrappy white guy with an attitude problem. Yeah, that's a Duke guard.
Rich
and rich. Yes. So Mr. Freeze has just frozen an entire section of Gotham. Because it's revealed that Mr. Freeze was working with the Court of Owls. And so they get mixed up with Mr. Freeze. They're trying to help him, but he's like, I don't need your help. And they're like, well, we're not going to let you die, because how are we going to thaw this shit out without you? Because you froze the city block, asshole.
Yeah, it's some good action. It kind of felt they just kind of shoehorned in a random, like recognizable Bat villain there.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. They had to pick somebody, and they were like, all right, who's not really doing anything for this? Mr. Freeze.
Let's talk about that weird interaction Jason has with that.
With the Talon, yeah, that's what most of my notes are about. This Talon is supposed to be like a mirror of Jason.
Yeah, he's like, but then also Dick Grayson too a little bit. Like he's Darkest Timeline, Dick Jason, Dick.
Yeah,
Todd.
because he was in the circus, and like Jason thinks that this guy is somehow related to Dick Grayson because he specifically goes to where Haley's circus used to be, which I don't remember if this is something they included when they retconned it. Dick owns Haley's circus.
Yeah, that's right.
Dick bought the circus that he grew up in.
Which is such a good flex.
Yep. Well, him and Tim, especially like towards Final Crisis, like when Bruce was gone, they just start doing whatever with the money. They don't give a fuck.
Which really is what you should do, man. Like
Tim starts starts a youth gang outreach program.
Like Bruce won't care what you do with it. Like it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
How many bad rings you need?
Dick buys a circus. Tim briefly becomes head of Wayne Industries and also the head of the League of Assassins. It's a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
But Jason has like a heart-to-heart with this Talon. Meanwhile, Corey fights Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze is like, or Corey's like, I'm impressed and repulsed that you're so fucking good at this, but you want to do all this stupid shit with it. And
it's definitely the I don't want
to what?
It's definitely that Spider-Man panel of I don't want
to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
Like it's 100% that,
Yeah. So Mr. Freeze is like, everything I do is motivated by love, and she's like, yeah, all right, whatever.
Which that whole section seems so creepier now that you give me the context of his record.
Yes, he's not in love with her. He's just obsessed with this woman.
Yeah, because without it, it seems like he's talking about Nora. But give me that context, like,
this guy sucks.
Like, I don't even want to look at him. Like,
this man is disgusting. But Jason has a heart-to-heart with the Talon, who is also like, I died and came back, and I'm just a tool to these people, which is how Jason feels like he was to Bruce.
Yeah.
And then the dude gets down on his knees, takes off his mask, and he's like, he tells him his real name and everything, and he asks Jason to kill him. And then Jason shows up with Mr. Freeze on the rooftop, where the rooftop of the GCPD, drops him off with Barbara, which I think this is the first time they've interacted up to this point in the New 52.
Yeah.
Also, it just occurred to me, this is the first, because Barbara had a series around this time. That's the first time she had a Batgirl solo.
Is it?
The first time there's a Batgirl solo series, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the first Batgirl solo series, like ongoing, is Cass's series. And that starts in like 99.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem right.
It doesn't, but remember, neither Wonder Girl has ever had an ongoing. So
yeah. And you know what? She had been Oracle and in the wheelchair since 88?
Yeah.
When's the Killing Joke?
Killing Joke is, I want to say you're right. I want to say it's 88.
So yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah. Also, I kind of hate that they took Barbara out of the chair. Like, I get that they wanted to go with the most recognizable character in that role. But fuck that.
Arguably.
More people know Barbara as Batgirl than know Stephanie.
So, okay. So I'll give you that. But I also feel like that's saying that of the 100 people that know this is kind of rude. I apologize if we got any Batgirl stands out there.
No,
But
you're saying like in terms of percentages. If 100 people know
yeah,
Batgirl,
like it might be a high percentage, but it's not a lot
right?
because she hasn't had a whole lot of representation in outside media. Like she was in the animated series.
Well, that's the thing. She was in the animated series and she was in the Batman 2004. Like, if you were a kid born between like 1985 and 2000, Barbara Gordon is Batgirl.
Right, but that's the thing. Even in Batman 4, she's not Barbara Gordon. She's Alfred.
That's right. In Batman Forever, it's Alicia Silverstein.
Yeah, so it's like I get it, but I think she just I don't know. I liked her so much better as Oracle.
She's better as Oracle, and plus, I think she's like the only major disabled character at DC, and then to undisable her.
Yeah, and I also I think the way they did it, I really didn't like. Like, I don't know, man. I'm one of those people where like I get. This is a side note. I do get Batman's whole we can't just go around killing folk willy-nilly thing. But
the Joker should have stayed dead after the Killing Joke. Batman should have just killed him there, and we should have never seen him again.
Like the idea that this man kills one of your sidekicks and disables another is, and then he just still gets to go around
untouched
kindergarten room. That's crazy.
He run around like he pot.
Yeah, that rises the whole brand. You look weak out here in the street. Like,
right, which is, like I was saying, in Joker War, fucking Harley's like, okay, enough. We got to get this fucking guy out of here.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so
and that's why I also think that her getting undisabled, but her getting out of the chair, it's like it wasn't even like they did something unique where it's like, oh, Cyborg gave her cybernetics that like make her legs work, but they only work for a little. It's no twist to it. She was just temporarily paralyzed.
Yeah.
What is that?
Like, no, she was shot. It was a thing that happened. She lost the use of her legs for years.
I don't know, man.
Like, I want to check. I feel like she was Oracle longer than she was Batgirl, or just as long.
That sounds right.
Like, she becomes Batgirl in the 60s.
And New 52 is 2011.
Right, so she's Oracle from 88 to 2011, 23 years, yeah.
It's close. Was
she
Oracle was she Batgirl the entire time after her introduction, or was she like one of those on and off for like 4 or 5 years characters?
I'm pretty sure she was just Batgirl for just straight up for ever from jump. Let's see.
Yes, let's hope.
Her first appearance as Batgirl is in January of 1967. Her first appearance as Oracle is January of 1989. So yeah, she's Oracle for as long as she's Batgirl.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. It stinks. And I think that comics also should do more flashbacks.
Yes.
So I don't think you need to take her out of the chair. You can still you could literally you're writing the whole universe. You could do an ongoing that's just flashbacks to her as Batgirl.
Yes, her telling Cassandra about when she was Batgirl.
Yeah, just like I've lamented this idea for probably the whole time you've known me now. But I want there to be an ongoing where it's just called a Robin ongoing, but each little 5-page arc, like 5-issue arc, is just one of them having flashbacks to their time at.
Yeah, well, they're doing that that series now. I don't know if it's going to be like a long-term ongoing or if it's just going to be like a 6-issue thing. But they're doing a series now called Robins that is all of them together.
Oh yeah, with all the sexy variants.
Yes, that variant where Dick is that you want to talk about art that looks like porn.
I'm saying, man,
they put so much emphasis on the bulge. He's so sweaty. What's with
it? like, man, whatever you got to do to get women to read.
Right. Yeah.
I think it'd be easier to just hire more women to stories that women care about. But
but if you draw Dick Grayson's giant ass, that also helps.
You know, that works too.
Shout out to Nicola Scott. So this issue 10, this is? Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Issue 10 opens with a page of a dude holding an axe in Corey and Roy's bedroom. Also, I think it's very funny that Roy sleeps outside of the covers, fully nude, and Corey hogs all the covers. I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, especially considering that her body temperature.
Yes, that she is hot enough that she literally burns him. She is wrapped up in all these covers, and Roy is outside, dick and balls fully out.
You know,
exposed to the elements. So meanwhile, downstairs, Jason is on a date with Isabel, that flight attendant from before. She's like, Jason, oh my god, Jason, you're so funny. I can't remember a date when I've had more fun. Remember this for later. And you know, they're talking, and he goes, so this is my hotel. Can I call you a cab? And she's like, no. He's like, don't. He's like, you don't want to miss your flight. And she's like, I don't.
Because, like you said, every woman wants to fuck him.
Everyone wants to fuck Jason Todd. At the very least, this woman was established earlier as wanting to fuck Jason Todd.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like she's just like, whatever, just fuck me. Come on, get with the program, dude.
I think it's understated how when he does, and he hangs up before he can say anything, he is over the moon fucking.
Yes, she's so happy that he called her, and then he just doesn't say anything. He just sits there like
she's basically making sure her IUDs are like.
She's like, oh, thank God.
You know.
Hold on, run that past me one more time. He said, making sure that her IUDs all good to go.
Yeah, you know, you got to make sure you're ready. You know?
Yeah. So that big dude if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. You think Batman made sure they keep condoms in the utility belts?
You know,
Jason, you can't understate the importance of good contraception.
You know, I slipped up once, kid, and
I slipped up once, and now we're stuck with Damien. Please.
But there's a bird with a sword flying around my house. So,
like, you know. I love the idea of Bruce having to give the boys the talk.
Yes.
Like,
it's so good, especially Dick, because Dick was like right at that age.
Yes. Well, because like in the old they reestablished it as the continuity now, thanks to Rebirth. But Dick was raised with Bruce from when he was 9 years old. So Bruce definitely had to give him the talk. Like Alfred definitely had to like walk Bruce through giving him. It's like, Alfred, Dick's like, he's going through puberty. He's in middle school now. He's gonna start dating. What am I gonna do? And Alfred's like, well, Master Bruce,
you know what just occurred to me? That Alfred gave Bruce a talk.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Alfred was like, well, when you came of age, Master Bruce, you didn't have quite as much interest in the fair sex as young Master Grayson did, but nonetheless, we made sure you were prepared. Like, Alfred and Bruce had to give Dick the talk. And there's no way they did.
How do you give a talk to a kid that let's call a spade, just that's that hot? Like,
how do you give the talk to Dick Grayson, who definitely has been on some kind of time since he was 12 years old.
I got it. Don't worry.
They're like, hey, so look, you're getting older, and we just want to make sure. He's like, oh, yeah. I was raised in the circus, man. I know.
Buddy. I got it.
I can handle this, all right?
I got you, man.
Relax. I got this. And you know what? I like the idea that he had to skip the talk with Dick, because Dick was like, whatever, man.
You know?
I was raised in the circus. I know where babies come from. It's fine.
You know, I got it.
Tim, he avoided it with because Tim's dad is still alive.
Yes.
So Jack gave Tim the talk. Actually, with Tim, everyone thinks he's having sex all the time. It's like a running gag in the early issues of Robin, is that everyone always thinks Tim is fucking. Because there's the issue where Ariana runs away from home. Tim's first girlfriend, Ariana Zhirchenko, shout out to her, because she hasn't been seen since 1997. Ariana comes over to Tim's house in the middle of the night because she runs away from home. And so Tim has Ari stay in his bedroom and he sleeps in the guest room. So when Mrs. Mack, the Drake family maid, comes to wake Tim up, it's like, Timothy, your breakfast is ready. Tim realizes, shit, Ariana's asleep in my bed. I'm asleep in the guest room, and he has to sprint down the hall to try and get to the room before Mrs. Mack does. He doesn't. So then Jack finds out. He freaks. He's like, "What? Who is this girl you have in your fucking bedroom? What are you doing? You're so fucking grounded. What are you doing, man?" And then there's another issue. I don't remember if this is before or after this, but sorry, y'all. This is a tangent about Tim because I'm me.
You know what you're saying.
You listen. If you've known me for any point of time within the last 10 years, you know what time it is. Tim goes over to Ariana's house, and he this is after an incident in which she got mad at him. Or no, she goes to hang out with some other kids from their school. Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta remember the order of events here. So a kid from Tim's school gets shot. This kid, Carl Rank, gets shot. Tim and Ariana go to his funeral, and Tim sees Stephanie at this funeral. And he's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I can't let Stephanie see me. I can't. God, I hope she doesn't recognize me. Because if she recognizes me, oh boy, we are fucked. We are all so fucked if Stephanie recognizes me. So he keeps looking over at her, seeing if she's looking at him. Ariana notices and is like, "Hey, Tim, who's that girl that you were looking at Carl's funeral?" And Tim lies. He is Bruce's son, and he lies. He says, "Oh, I just thought she was cute. I like blondes." He doesn't. Well, he does. Tim is an interesting case because for a long time they ran with that because his love interests after this are Stephanie and Cassie.
Which just Tim and Cassie always felt sacrilegious to me, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, she was dating his best friend. His best friend died, and they got together out of grief. Made sense. And it doesn't last long. like they hang out, and then she's like, this is weird.
But yeah, let's not do that.
So Tim says this, and so Ariana dyes her hair blonde, and Tim freaks out, which prompts Dick to say the funniest thing that I think he ever says, where Tim goes to Dick for advice a lot during this run. He goes to Dick and Barbara all the time. Anytime he has problems with relationships or anything, he calls them. So Tim and Dick are talking, and Dick's like, "I don't see what the problem is. Yeah, she dyed her hair. It's like dating a girl. It's like dating a new girl without having to cheat or break up. It rules." Which, Dick, how many times have you done this?
Like, it reinforces my idea that Dick Grayson is like he's too charming and too attractive to ever give good advice.
Yeah, you were telling me about this. He's never had these problems.
Like they're like, well, it was like, oh, well, have you tried flexing and doing yoga in front of him? He's so mad at yoga. Okay.
Have you tried coming out of the shower in nothing but a towel? Yeah,
you know.
Shit.
Well, that's my one thing, man. Like that's my go-to.
You might as well charge it to the game, kid. Also, the idea of Dick Grayson saying "charge it to the game."
Yeah. Hey, man, listen.
Then some stuff happens. A dude from their school like tries to like make a pass at Ariana. Like he goes and hangs out with these she goes and hangs out with these kids from school. They and the dude whose car it is, like he's like tries to like he tries to make some shit happen, and she is super uncool with that.
Yes.
And they Tim later comforts her. She dyes her hair back to black. They're hanging out at her house, and she like comes out in nothing but like she comes out in like lingerie basically. And Tim's like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm not ready for that yet. We're fucking 14. Let's slow down." Her aunt and uncle come home, and he's just like, her uncle freaks out. He's like, "Are you trying to fuck my niece? I'll kill you."
A good reaction to have, man. Like it's unreasonable.
Yeah. And then later, when Tim tells Barbara that Stephanie's pregnant, Barbara's like, "Are you?" He's like, No. I'm not the culprit. Not even a suspect. He said, "I didn't even. Like, we kissed. We held hands. It wasn't me." So basically, just everybody always thinks Tim Drake is fucking. That was the point of this anecdote that went way too fucking long. Sorry.
Which is hilarious because Tim just strikes me as the kind of guy where he's just like, at least during this time, he's like,
oh. Yeah, he's not down for that. He's just not into it. He's got other shit to worry about. Like there's a point where Stephanie says, if she waited for Tim to be in the mood to initiate something, then she'd get less than an agoraphobic monk in a one-person monastery. She's like, the implication there is that they've done stuff, but Stephanie is always the initiating party, which makes sense for her character. Anyway, this episode is not about Tim and Stephanie, but I'm me. They fight this dude in the courtyard. Jason puts his hood on for some reason in front of Isabel. Isabel's like, "What the fuck?"
His casual outfit.
He's wearing like a blazer, a t-shirt, white loafers, no socks.
Ready for action.
Just Vice City Jason. Corey comes down, and the dude works for Corey. He serves on her ship. Also, Corey's a ship captain. They go back to space, and for some reason Isabel gets dragged with them.
Yeah, which I'm not gonna lie, Isabel grows on.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe more of this. She says, Jason goes, "Hey, so I can explain." And she's like, "You lied our whole date. I don't believe you." They go to space. This is pretty much all that happens, except we're introduced to the rest of the crew of the HMS Starfire. DePaulo, and Kitten. Now, when we were talking about this, your exact words were, I need Kitten to return my calls. She's like orange skin diamond.
Yes. But, I'm going to have simple needs and a Tamarinian with a shaved head on one side.
Yep, that'll do it. There's also this dude here. I don't think he ever gets a name, but he's got this incredible fucking head of hair and a beard.
Yes, and the beard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, who was that dude?
I have no fucking clue. That guy rules, though. I need instead of an Essence backup, they should have done a backup on this guy.
Yeah, I'd watch one about the crew of the Starfire. Definitely.
Yeah. Yes, it should just be Captain Harlock. The next issue opens with Roy having been captured by the Blight.
Which the way they do that, I swore up and down I missed something.
Yes, it's done really weird, but then this whole issue is done in flashbacks. Also, on the cover of this issue, Roy looks very afraid.
Yes.
Basically, Starfire is like, I don't fucking want to go fight for Tamaran. I fucking hate these people. She's like, yeah, I'm the princess, but like, fuck these guys, man.
Like, if she doesn't care about this shit, why should I?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the feeling, is like, if Starfire doesn't care, why should I give a shit about Tamaran? We get the origin of how Blackfire sold her into slavery.
Which is still so... For what purpose?
Yeah.
Like, if you're these other aliens, what do you gain from having this one royal slave?
Why not both of them?
Yes, and I think the implication is that they specifically asked for her so that they could experiment.
Yes.
But they never pick up on it.
Yes.
So, what the fuck?
Yeah. My note here is Blackfire, please call me.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Blackfire, I've realized, because I've been watching the old Teen Titans series. Blackfire is the origin of my love of just totally fucking toxic women.
Hey, man. It's got to come from somewhere.
It's got to come from somewhere.
And quick little side note about Blackfire. So, I know that Starfire is pronounced like coriander, like the snakes. Is Blackfire pronounced Commander?
That is, I think so. I think her name is Commander.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting choice.
Yep. So issue 12. This is, at this point, I have fully stopped taking notes. Here's a note. I hate the art.
Yeah.
It's like,
bad,
this slides harder on the, harder to life out.
And like I said, everybody's costume is that weird kind of layered
armor kind of thing. Yeah.
And then the spacesuits, because crazily enough, they find spacesuits that match both Jason and Roy's costumes, even though neither one of them are wearing their costumes when they got on the ship, and it happened to match Isabel's corpse.
Yeah.
Just coincidence. Pure coincidence. But like, so Roy's especially comes up on like his neck and like the back of his head.
Oh, it's Havoc in the 90s.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of how Nightwing had one like that in one of the Arkham games. Where it's like, this is how, but you still want to have your hair exposed?
Yes. Also, I don't remember, was Roy wearing the ball cap all the time before this run?
No.
Yeah, okay, so that is a New 52 thing, is Roy with the hat.
Yep. At least as far as I remember it. I know he wore it, I remember him wearing it in Archer's Quest, but it's also wasn't really in uniform.
Yeah.
And I think he was just hooded like all the other things, or just had his hair out. I remember seeing the trucker hat and thinking, why the fuck is he gonna do this? Like, and I get it. It helps him stand out. Except it doesn't really, like, it just doesn't look, it's weird.
Yeah. The cover for issue 12 is just, hey, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, I think they even write it in like a Star Wars kind of font.
Oh, but speaking of covers, these misleading ass fucking covers.
Yeah.
Like, I get in comic books, and that you think what you put on there what's going to sell, but like one of them is just like Starfire being like strangled by Blackfire.
Yes.
Like, what is that happening?
Yep. Also, the Jason looks weirdly older because they switch artists. This is Timothy Green II doing the art for this.
Yeah,
Jason
that's right.
looks so much older here.
And that's not an improvement, man. Like, that's not good. That's not the change we wanted.
And Isabel's like, hey, our date was super boring before this, so this kind of rules, actually.
Yeah, I love that she just like, well, since we're being honest, you were kind of boring.
You
I
told
was
me you were a realtor. Like,
I was definitely going to lose your number after.
yeah, we were gonna fuck, and then I was never gonna see you again. And then Roy's retelling of the story is interrupted by Blackfire. We catch up to present day, or to the present time, and Roy is talking to Blackfire. And when it's revealed, it was all an elaborate plot to rescue Blackfire from this mothership.
Oh, and that reminds me, something I do have to know is that we've said this probably a million times, but another thing that they touch on and they never bring up again is when he gets back, Jason kind of pulls him aside and is like, "Hey, are you rough on you?" And he kind of goes into a self-loathing thing where he's like, "It's not what I do for myself." And Jason kind of like tells him like, "Hey, man, like, listen, you can be vulnerable. You can say that something hurt." And Roy kind of puts the wall up. And it's so interesting because that dynamic is shifted from how it normally seems.
That's
and they never
shifted from how it was in the first issue, where Roy is trying to be super friendly with Jason.
Yeah, and they just never touch on it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This guy stinks.
Yeah, this shit is... Because then they rescue Blackfire, and Blackfire... So, Corey and Com... She keeps calling her Com, so we'll say that. Corey and Com go... And fucking Com starts crying, and is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Corey. I never meant for this to happen to you." And it's like... Blackfire being like an apologetic character is weird.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's inconsistent, and I get that they were trying really hard to update the characters and change them from how you might have remembered them from being, but that's really stupid because new readers didn't get into this stuff. It was just old readers. So for an old reader to go from the last time you saw Blackfire, where she was super evil, to now, where she's like weeping in her sister's arms and, "Oh, I didn't mean, I hate that I only did it to save our people." And Corey's like, "Yeah, I know. It's all okay." It's like, fucking what? Who are these people?
Yeah, they also tease him at one point on Starfire shit, where they're like jealous that she's confiding in Jason and Roy and it's like they don't pick up on that either. Like,
like there's a bit where like Katan is kind of looking around at them, and it's like, "Hey, what's going on there?" And they are like, Starfire's like, "I don't want to fucking be here. Let's get the fuck out of here."
And like it blows because like she kind of goes into a diatribe or feel comfortable around a lot of people, but she doesn't. And so it's like, what's the point of planting both of those seeds if there wasn't going to be a betrayal? Like, so, what's the first mate's name that sacrificed himself?
DePaul.
DePaul. So, with him, where I thought that was going is when he hangs up with Corey and then he contacts the Blight Mothership. I thought he was getting ready to turn.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen. It ends up being a noble sacrifice that she doesn't really want. I don't know, man. This is bad. It's bad media.
Yeah.
It's not well done.
Yeah, ungood. Then interrupting this story is issue 0. Where it's just, hey, here's Jason's origin, which is Jason's origin all the same, except his mom is actually being controlled by the Joker. This is the only good addition to his story at this point.
Yes, because
this and the all-cast stuff, which I think the all-cast stuff on the whole sucks, but again, as a concept, good for Jason.
Because the other major change that it's implied here, implied out, almost stated in Death of the Family, is that Joker manipulated all these events in Jason's life to have him become Robin, just so he could kill Robin to screw with that, which is
very
dumb. I
dumb.
can't put words how stupid that is.
Very dumb, because if he wanted to kill Robin, he would just kill Dick.
Yes. Because this is like this starts years before. Yeah, this starts
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 years before he gets like eventually adopted by Bruce. Like,
Like, and the Joker
this
is
is such
not
a
this fucking Machiavellian like schemer. His plans are not set years in advance.
right. And so that's the other thing. So they say definitively that he was Robin for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And the whole point is you're doing this to fuck with Batman. Why did you wait 2 years for Jason to just randomly see fly
Yeah.
to the middle of nowhere? You could have just shot him in the fucking head and gone.
Yes.
Like week one.
No, we got to drag him all the way out here to Karak or
Like,
whatever.
such a stupid fucking addition. Like, it's just trying to overcomplicate shit that didn't need to be complicated.
Yep.
Like the one thing they need to change in his origin is trick him. They changed it. Perfect. We're good. Like I don't get it, man. That really got under my skin real bad.
Yeah. So like you were saying, this whole thing with DePaul happens. He blows up the Starfire inside the Blight mothership. Or DePaul.
And the days say, yeah. Oh, the Apollo. Okay. I don't know. That sounds like the name of your uncle that did.
Yep.
Uncle DePaulo's house. You know, he's
Yeah.
always
He sounds like he's hanging out with Tony D'Angelo.
you know.
So they're fighting the Blight on Tamaran, and then we get that panel, that page we were talking about before. We've been recording so long, I don't remember if we said this on air or not. But
Yeah, I don't think we did.
So Blackfire gets fucking stabbed through the back, clean through with a spear, and somehow manages to say as a sentence as the spear goes through her, "Sister, I have failed you." And so Corey screams out her sister's name. Jason simply says, "Damn." Like, she's been run through with a spear. Corey is screaming, and all Jason just says, "Damn."
And Roy, not to be outdone, he literally says, "Oh no, he didn't."
Yeah, like
Oh
flatly.
no,
Oh no, comma, he didn't.
we're not making that up for effect. That's not a clever joke. It's literally that the panel is just, "Oh no, he didn't."
Like, so this is worth mentioning, because of the artist change. Jason's helmet no longer has a mouth.
Lips.
Yeah, no longer has lips. So just, damn. Like, out of a face with no mouth.
Like, oh my god. And it's like,
And his eyes aren't doing the thing anymore, so he just says, "Damn."
Yes. That's another thing I hate. One of my biggest notes is that at one point, they start treating his mask like it's a Spider-Man mask.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that, like, if he's shocked, the eyes on his helmet become shocked. But no, it's a helmet. And not only is it a helmet, we get confirmed like 2 issues later that he, much like post-crisis Jason, still wears his Robin Domino mask.
Underneath. Yes.
There's no way his eyes can be shiny. There's no fucking, like, it's so bad.
Unless there are holes in the helmet the exact size of the eyes under the Domino mask. So what you're seeing is
If
actually...
that's the case, we're getting into like 1960s Tony Stark.
Yes. So Corey's powers go off like a fucking bomb. And she solves the problem. Also, Blackfire's fine. It cuts to a week later. Blackfire's fine. And also kind of bleached.
Yeah.
Like, she was darker before.
And you know, another thing that's weird to me is that, so you expect me to believe that the Blight is strong enough to kill and defeat Tamarinians who have these explosive powers but Jason's bullets and Roy's arrows are doing something.
They're really good bullets.
And this is what I alluded to this earlier. At one point, they show Corey just with 2 guns.
Yes, yeah. At some point here, Corey just has guns. She has a fucking MP5 in one hand.
Like it's fucking Call of Duty.
Like she's fucking Jax from Mortal Kombat Gold.
Yeah, like for no reason. Like, why is that in there?
And then, so Corey says goodbye to her sister, and they get onto the HMS, the newly christened HMS Apollo, which is captained by Kitten. I should add, her name is not Kitten. It is Kitten. K''T''E''N. Whatever.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, her name is not Kitten. It's Kitten, which is all right.
Which I thought it was kitten because they keep referring to Star cat. So I was like, okay, well maybe it's a feline thing.
Yeah. Also, around here we get something that I really would like to harp on for a second, if I could.
Please.
Roy says he compares Corey again to a cat because he says something to the effect of underneath the surface of free love and rub my belly again, there's a warrior, and me and Jason never saw this side of her. When has she ever been depicted like rub my belly again?
I'll go to the other end of that question. Didn't you just watch her incinerate a room full of people to the bone?
To the bone, yes. Like I said earlier, it's inconsistent with its own portrayal of her. Liddell can't decide who she is.
He'll pay one day. He will pay for his crimes.
He will pay for his crimes. He also, I would like to say, I'm pretty sure he started the trend of Jason Todd is going to hook up with another one of Dick Grayson's exes, because I think during volume 2 of this book, they tease a thing with him and Barbara.
Oh, that's gross.
Yes.
That's gross. Because
imagine dating, going out, or having a thing with your brother's prom date 5 years later.
And what's even worse is that when he shows to hand off Mr. Freeze to her, she basically has to resist the urge to go fucking in. Like, she seems so disgusted that he's there.
Yes.
Like,
and so later, I mean, there is a really good line that comes out of that thing with him and Barbara later, where he says, look, we both know that I can't replace Dick Grayson. I spent enough of, like, he's basically like, I spent enough of my life trying to be him. Don't try and use me as a substitute for him. Which is a good line for Jason, when it makes Barbara look like just a fucking skag.
Yeah, it does.
Who's like creeping on her already, like, especially because Dick is younger than Barbara. Explicitly.
Is he?
Yes, Dick has always been younger than Barbara. Barbara, I think, is like a year or two older than him.
Oh, shit. She's like, what, 3 or 4 years older than Jason, right?
Yeah, so Jason would be maybe 21 and Barbara's 20. Barbara is his brother's 25-year-old ex.
You know it's occurring to me now as I hear this. Barbara has, throughout the very, now dated every Robin except me.
Yes.
And Stephanie.
Yes. She's dating Tim in the Arkham games, yeah. Which is super gross. Because Barbara is, like, in the Dixon run, Barbara is like an older sister to Tim.
Yeah.
When Tim has girl trouble, he goes to Dick or Barbara. And actually, he'll go to both of them. He'll talk to Dick first because he's more likely to see him first. And then he'll talk to Barbara later that night. Like, hey, Barbara, I'm having an issue. You're a girl, right?
Oh, my God.
And so he'll
Jason Todd and
yeah.
that man give me indigestion.
uh,
Jesus.
So Isabel makes a comment about before they get on the ship. Isabel says, "I could live 100 years and never fill out a spacesuit like she does." Isabel, you are also wearing a skin tight spacesuit.
Like her body envy is Starfire. Really, you can tell when somebody writes something. A dude writes something. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's easily the third or fourth time.
Did she like commented on Starfire's titties? Yeah.
Yeah, like, fuck.
Like, why don't you fuck her then, Isabel?
You know, she probably down. I don't see a scenario with Starfire is like.
Well, the way that Liddell writes her, she'll fuck anybody. So.
I was about to say, like, the way he writes her, it depends on what day of the week.
She'd be like, like, again, I think that if you're writing alien characters, actually, I don't think I've said this, but an alien character should not subscribe to human rules of sexuality.
Yes.
Starfire should be like, yeah, fuck it, whatever.
Side note, that's also why I like the idea of Jonathan Kent being bisexual.
Yeah, fucking Kryptonian.
Especially because he got aged up. So you got to think. Imagine if 11-year-old you suddenly becomes like 18-year-old you. You're gonna try to fuck everything.
Yeah.
If it smiles at you, you're down. Like, hey, all right.
As you once said about Gambit, his sexuality is how good is the whiskey.
Exactly.
Remy. Remy, that's you're talking about a slutty man. Remy LeBeau.
Gotta love it.
So we are finally at the end of this. The last page here is the Joker has snuck onto that island that Starfire and Jason were hanging out on, where I guess they live on. I guess they live there. That's where they usually are. And
which, once again, why?
Yeah.
For what fucking purpose? Because the editorial purpose for having those last few panels is that because I read the next 3 issues after that. Mm-hmm. Next up is Death of the Family, and Isabel lives in Gotham, so he goes to spend like a day or two with her, and like Joker.
I would like to point out this flight attendant who happened to be on their flight from somewhere from this island to Hong Kong, who Jason then goes on a date with in Miami, happens to be from Gotham.
Yes. It's sure. You know what I mean? They just keep finding stupid ways to bring him back to Gotham when it's his hometown.
He's just from there. He's just from here.
Like, it's his hometown, man.
He's got season tickets to go see the fucking Knights. I don't know.
But Joker does this fucked up thing where he sneaks in while Jason's in shop. Remember, Jason trained by Batman, the League of Assassins,
and the All Cast,
can't hear a clown breaking into the house that he's in and shooting up Isabel to make her OD the way his mom did. And then apparently he somehow had surveillance in his TV to make it look like he's doing a news broadcast, and it's real time because him and Jason start talking through the TV. Like, it's not just a tape on a loop. Like, he's actually
it's a fucking camera feed. It's a fucking Skype call.
And then that leads to Jason like falling into Joker's trap and all that. It's Death of the Family is not is it's
Death
one
of
of
the
those
Family
things
is one of those things that I think that people thought was cool at the time because, whoa, the Joker cut his own face off, and I was wearing his face like a mask. And it's like, in hindsight, no, this fucking story sucks.
Yeah, it's I said it's good and solicits. You know, when you actually get down to the meat and potatoes of it, it's terrible. The one fun little note that I did have there is that Joker calls the cops, which for what reason? But Joker calls the cops and the EMTs for Isabel, and the lead detective that gets there is Harvey Bullock. And
You know,
Jason
Bullock
Todd
becomes
makes
commissioner for a while. Sorry, I just remember that.
so Jason Todd makes a point to say that Harvey Bullock will take care of her because I trust him. And he said this because his time is Robin. But a fun little thing I noticed is that when Jason's dad gets arrested, ends up serving life in prison in the Zero issue, it's Harvey Bullock that's arrested him. So it's like, do you trust this man because he took your shitty dad?
Yeah, is that what it is? You fucking you arrested your dad, so you're like, no, Bullock's cool.
But yeah, I will say that one thing that is fun is that there's an issue. It's not fun because it ends with Jason, but there's an issue that kind of has a couple of cool Bat Family moments, a couple of stupid ones too, like Nightwing brooding in costume inside Wayne Manor
on a gargoyle.
Yeah, and then he just leaves apparently because I've realized that later when Jason passes out, Dick's not buried, so Dick had already left.
Dick went back to Bloodhaven. He's all right. Fuck off. I don't want to be here.
But it's good because you get a couple of Jason and Bruce moments.
Dick and Jason having weird animosity is fucking stupid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially if we're presenting Jason as the mature one who's over it.
Yes, that's another thing that's weird. It's just like, what? Maybe I don't know. Maybe the justification is that Dick resents that Jason hates him for no reason. Maybe? I don't know, but they don't.
But that's not his personality. That's the thing,
right? Like it makes no fucking sense.
Dick gives, if you go back and read the stuff from when Dick is Batman, and a lot of it is him dealing with Jason. Dick is always trying to give Jason a chance.
Yes,
like Dick 100%. Is more willing to give Jason a chance than Tim is.
Yep, arguably more than Bruce is really.
Yes, Dick is like the one person who is like trying with Jason. He's always trying to convince him that all the Red Hood shit is stupid.
It's a very weird thing. Like those panels of Nightwing just really blew my fucking mind. Like the idea that he doesn't want to see Corey. He didn't want to say hi to Roy. Like
right.
Roy
who was one of his best friends.
Like, but yeah, they get a really good moment. I think the one positive. Actually, I'm thinking now. I don't even think Lobdell wrote this part. I don't think he wrote this issue, so I'm not gonna give him fucking credit for it. But it shows Jason and Bruce coming to terms with the fact that they both feel like they failed each other, and they both kind of healed through that. I thought that's really good because you don't get a whole lot. But I don't know. It sucks that the Bat Family parts are some of the best parts, and it's maybe 20 panels altogether throughout the whole run of this book.
Yeah, the best parts of this book up to this point, the first, let's say, 17 issues, the best parts of this book are the flashback in that one issue with was that issue 3 with Jason and Bruce sitting on the couch. Like Jason falls asleep leaning on Bruce's shoulder. Bruce lays Jason's cape around him like a blanket, and he just lets him sleep there. That's a really good moment.
Just popcorn watching a movie,
Yeah, the moment with Tim and Jason on the roof or on the balcony of Tim's apartment, and the moments that you were just talking about with Bruce and Jason, like those are the best parts of this.
One side note from that same issue. So Jason kind of tries to reach out to Damian because he understands Damian's kind of the off man out, and Damian basically tells him to go fuck himself. And Damian and Roy just get into a fight for no reason, other than just being childish dicks. No pun intended. And then just end with he started, both of the exact hilarious shit. Like, Roy, you're a grown man.
You cannot be arguing with this fucking 12-year-old. What are you doing?
Great stuff.
You're arguing with a middle schooler, Roy. This is a lot about you.
But yeah, in conclusion, this book stinks, man.
In conclusion, for those of you that stuck with us for the last 3 hours, which it did not feel like we were 3 hours, but this is, if you and I talk for 3 hours about this, the Back in Black episode with Manny is going to be a mess. That's going to be...
Oh, yeah.
I got to carve out an afternoon for that, because that's just...
Yeah, I'm ready for that with bated breath.
Yeah, this book sucks. I'm glad to not have to touch it anymore. It's weird because I do think the second volume of this is really good with Artemis and Bizarro. I think that book is a lot better, and I think a lot of why that book is better is because it's two characters who do not have these established histories and personalities.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being like this weird bastardized trinity with him.
Yeah, they're
Bizarro, and
literally
Artemis.
referred to as the Dark Trinity.
And him and Bizarro especially, like
They've got a really fun relationship because he's Bizarro, so you can assign whatever personality you want to him. He's fucking Bizarro.
Yep. And Artemis to the point that could be three different characters.
Right, that might as well just be a new character.
You know?
And so the three of them, that works because Artemis can be whoever. She doesn't have to be. There's not 40 years of plot with Artemis there.
Yeah.
Like there is with Starfire, where Starfire has an established personality, and this is always conflicting with that. Plus, with them making
connections too.
Right. And then the other thing is with them having that second volume taking place after Rebirth, you gain a lot because everything is set back to how it was post-Crisis. So now it's not trying to update the characters and establish the characters as these new things from the 21st century and new readers. Like, no, it's this whole thing. They fuck with Black Mask a lot. You know, it's a lot's going on there, and it's I really had fun reading it when I read it, and I honestly might go back and read when it becomes just a full-on Jason solo because it just becomes a Red Hood outlaw.
Yeah, I think I will too, honestly.
And I know the last couple issues of that are just called Red Hood, so it drops the subtitle. So I might go back to that. If you come away from this going, well, I really like the Red Hood, I want to read more with this character, read that run. Read Red Hood and the Outlaws Volume 2. Starts in 2016, and I think it just ended this year. So just start that run and just go. If you want more with Starfire, she jumps over to the Teen Titans after this, which is weird because she feels like she's like 20. So she's hanging out with Damien, which is weird. Starfire has kind of been on a team with every Robin but Stephanie.
Yes.
Stephanie was only Robin for 73 days.
That's wild.
Yeah, I forgot that it was that long, but she says it in that first issue of Robins. She says, I was Robin for 73 days, and Tim says, well, you were suspended for like 3 weeks of that, so... Because Tim's an asshole.
Gotta love it, man.
But thank you so much, Will, for putting yourself through this fucking slog that is this book. And
hey man, it was honestly fun.
This is a lot of fun. We will actually have to do like a proper like Green Arrow, Daredevil, either Green Arrow or Daredevil episode in the future.
Yeah.
But until then, please follow this show on Twitter at MCMF Pod. You can follow me at Archer Arios. That's ARXHERARIOS. The X is a C. Do not make me explain it. Follow Will at Chaos Ghost. He's the patron saint of the Macaroot. So if you would like,
yes, indeed.
if you would like to hear this man yell about the power of the root,
I will teach you the gospel. I will show you the way.
But until next time, where the episode's gonna be one of two things. I haven't decided which one yet. I got to talk to Manny. But until next week, thank you all, and have a good one.